Chapter 1398. He planned to let genius nurture it in the swamp world. As for this walnut tree with fruits, Lin Yuan planned to take care of it personally. He nurtured it all the way to bronze X/epic. When the walnut tree was upgraded, the quality of the fruits would also be upgraded. This way, Lin Yuan would have the first batch of high-quality bronze object walnuts. He circulated his spiritual power and placed his palm on the abnormally thick trunk of the object storage walnut tree. In just a few minutes, the walnut tree's quality had risen from common to epic. The fruits that had been produced were even more plump than before, and their volume had also increased by a size. When a walnut is ripe, its surface will be covered with a layer of green peel. Only when this layer of green peel was removed could the original appearance of the walnut be revealed. Lin Yuan counted and found that there were exactly 60 walnuts on this walnut tree. If he was lucky, he should be able to get 30 pairs. He naturally did not need to personally peel off the fruit. Lin Yuan said to the wind-speed rapid antelope, "Wind-speed rapid antelope, use your wind blades to cut down these walnuts from the trees. Then use the storm to pick up the walnuts that have fallen to the ground." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, the wind-speed rapid antelope immediately took action. The material of the walnut was extremely hard. Even if the wind-speed rapid antelope used its full strength, it would still find it hard to leave a mark on the walnut. However, the green peel that covered the walnut was soft. Under the attack of the wind-speed rapid antelope storm, the green peel would be completely peeled off by the storm. It kept the walnut in an unusually clean state. Soon, the green peel was torn into dust by the storm. 60 scarlet walnuts were spinning in the air. The sizes of these walnuts were similar, but the patterns were different. Thus, he did not need to spend much effort on matchmaking. He would be able to concoct 30 pairs of bronze/epic walnuts. Lin Yuan smacked his lips as he looked at the vermilion walnuts. The bronze/epic walnut storage and the bronze walnut storage that Lin Yuan had seen before were simply two different things. If this kind of vermilion object was played on a walnut plate, it was very likely that it would be coiled into a bright red color with a golden luster. No wonder he was so sought after by the nobles in the Divine Wood Federation. After putting away these 30 pairs of bronze/epic walnuts, he tried to cut off a branch and injected a large amount of pure spirit chi into it. Within a few minutes, the branch that contained the walnut had grown a dense growth of fine roots. As he continued to strengthen it, it grew into a normal walnut tree. In the end, he raised it all the way to bronze/flawless. After Lin Yuan had split and nurtured the object-containing walnut tree, its height would be the same as Luo Ye's object-containing walnut tree. However, the trunk was only as thick as Lin Yuan's wrist. This made him realize that the object-containing walnut tree that he had nurtured with pure spirit chi could not replace the object-containing walnut tree that had grown naturally for over 300 years. This was the accumulation of lifespan, and it was not something that could be achieved overnight with the cultivation of pure spiritual energy. This was another layer of charm that life bestowed to Phase. Lin Yuan put the bronze/flawless object-containing walnut tree that he had just nurtured into the Phase storage box and thought to himself, "If I want to nurture an object-containing walnut tree, I still have to have the Luo family's object-containing walnut tree that has grown for a certain age." He looked at the time and found that there was only half an hour left before the appointed time. He hurriedly left the Spirit Lock spatial zone. He found that Lu Jie and Ji Feng had both taken off their black armor and black robes. They had changed into a set of gorgeous clothes suitable for attending banquets. Since they were attending a banquet, wearing gorgeous clothes was the most basic banquet etiquette. Wearing gorgeous clothes had nothing to do with whether the banquet was important or not. It was just a manifestation of personal cultivation. This was what Lin Yuan and Lu Jie had learned when chatting with the sincere caravan. It was the common local customs of the Divine Wood Federation or the entire Agon continent. At that moment, Lu Jie was wearing a purple ceremonial robe with an embroidered copper cauldron embellished with hundreds of insect beast totems. Ji Feng was wearing a dark blue ceremonial robe embroidered with waves patterns and WMs leaping in the waves patterns. Since Lu Jie and Ji Feng had chosen dark colors, Lin Yuan took out the clothes that when you had known he was coming to the Divine Wood Federation. They were specially designed according to the Divine Wood Federation's aesthetic standards. This luxurious robe was the same as the spirit chi clothing that Lin Yuan had worn before, which was white. However, all the edges of this ceremonial robe that needed to be sewn with silk threads were added with a circle of black tiger fur on the neck of the diamond/fantasy breed dark-eyed scorpion tiger. The white was elegant and the black was grand. The black tiger fur and the white brocade collided, giving this luxurious robe an indescribable noble aura. The white brocade robe was pieced together with the scales of the dark-eyed scorpion tiger's tail into a black mountain stream. The center of the mountain stream was embroidered with white moonstone into a majestic white tiger. The middle of the moonstone was covered with a layer of fine black tiger fur. These black tiger hairs seemed to have drawn tiger stripes in the white moonstone. The upper half of the brocade robe had a white tiger roar that shook the valley, while the lower half was embroidered with 34 kinds of tiger totems using completely jade-textured white sandalwood. These embroideries using completely jade-textured white sandalwood on the white brocade were extremely inconspicuous and difficult to be seen at a glance. However, Lin Yuan's moon-white boots were also inlaid with 2 pearls polished with nightmare gold. Nightmare spirit gold was an extremely expensive consumable type of spirit material. It would slowly release spirit energy into the surroundings. The spirit chi released by the nightmare spirit stone was enough to make the lower half of the brocade robe completely jade-textured, and the 34 kinds of tiger totems embroidered with white sandalwood emitted a jade-textured glow. After changing into this robe, Lin Yuan left the room and prepared to meet Lu Jie and Ji Feng. Lu Jie was used to seeing Lin Yuan's handsome appearance. Lin Yuan was also a natural clothes rack. Even if he wore casual clothes, he wouldn't be able to stand out. Even if he wore ordinary clothes, his temperament would not be much worse than wearing luxurious clothes. Lu Jie was used to Lin Yuan. However, Ji Feng, who had little contact with Lin Yuan, was stunned when he saw Lin Yuan wearing luxurious clothes. Looking at the youthful Lin Yuan, Ji Feng suddenly thought of himself when he was 17 or 18 years old. At that time, he had also been the Radiance Federation's top genius and had been proud of his talent. However, compared to the current Lin Yuan, he was really not good enough. After 10 years of fleeing, Ji Feng knew very little about the Radiance Federation's younger generation. Ji Feng did not know if the current younger generation was as outstanding as Lin Yuan, or if Lin Yuan had already led the Radiance Federation's younger generation. Along the way from the treehouse to the Luo residence, the passers-by's eyes lit up when they saw Lin Yuan and his group. The people who lived in Nanma City had never seen such a celestial being. Chapter 1399. However, these pedestrians didn't dare to look at Lin Yuan boldly. In the Divine Wood Federation, peeking at nobles and making them uncomfortable would result in punishment. No one was willing to cause unnecessary trouble because of a few more glances. If Lin Yuan wasn't so stunning, these pedestrians might have lowered their heads and hurried away when they saw him. Luo Ye had dressed up carefully for the reception at the Zhang family's auditorium. When she went to welcome Lin Yuan, Luo Ye had already put on makeup. She had even used the most expensive cosmetics in her hands. However, in order to present her best state, Luo Ye still removed the makeup she had previously put on. Then she put on a more detailed makeup and even drew an exquisite blue flower on her forehead. Looking at herself in the mirror, Luo Ye's mouth curled up in satisfaction. Then, she took her favorite purple fur and gently combed it with a comb. However, the more she combed the purple fur, the heavier her mood became. Luo Ye thought of the white spirit chi clothes and the priceless belt on his waist when she saw Lin Yuan today. If she put on the purple fur and stood next to Lin Yuan, she would look like a poor girl. This purple fur was silently telling Luo Ye how big the gap between her and Lin Yuan was. Fortunately, after Luo Ye recognized the reality, her thoughts changed slightly. She was no longer thinking about how to like Lin Yuan, but how to ride on Lin Yuan's chariot forever. Given Lin Yuan's identity and strength, he had the absolute right to speak in Nanma City. If Lin Yuan was interested in Nanma City, could the Luo family become Lin Yuan's representative? Could they help Lin Yuan deal with matters related to Nanma City? This way, she could at least use this opportunity to keep in touch with Lin Yuan. Before Luo Ye could put on the purple fur, she heard Rode's voice coming from the door. "Little Ye, Lord Lin Yuan is here. Hurry up and pack up." Luo Ye could clearly hear the shock in Rode's tone. Luo Ye didn't care so much and ran out with the purple fur. As soon as she saw Lin Yuan, Luo Ye couldn't move her eyes away from him. He was an elegant young master in a snow-white coat and black fur coat. He had an elegant appearance and a calm expression, showing the demeanor of a noble. This made Luo Ye subconsciously hide her favorite purple fur behind her. When Lin Yuan saw Luo Ye's reaction, he stepped forward and shook his hand. A light purple fur coat appeared in Lin Yuan's hands. Lin Yuan said as he handed the light purple fur coat to Luo Ye. This fur coat came from a diamond purple plum jumping deer. This fur coat is enough for you to make a cloak before the banquet. Take it as a thank you gift for the 2 walnut trees you gave me. When Luo Ye heard his words, she suddenly felt a little sour in her heart. He had only given Lin Yuan 2 bronze/normal object containing walnut trees. However, Lin Yuan had returned the diamond fey fur coat to her as a gift. This meant that Lin Yuan did not want to have anything to do with him. In the end, Luo Ye reached out her hand and took the lavender fur coat from Lin Yuan with slightly red eyes. "Thank you. I've wanted to give you those 2 walnut trees for a long time. You saved my life before. No matter what, I owe you a favor." While Luo Ye was feeling increasingly bitter, Rode was beaming with joy. 2 bronze normal quality walnut trees were exchanged for a diamond fur coat. This was a great deal. From this point alone, Rode could tell that Lin Yuan was a very generous person. Or it could be said that a diamond fur coat was nothing to him. He was wondering if there was anything else he could give to Lin Yuan. While exchanging for some precious resources from Lin Yuan said, "You're right. You said that the Luo family has a total of 26 walnut trees. Are these walnut trees more than 300 years old? If these walnut trees are more than 300 years old, I want to trade this one for the 26 walnut trees of your Luo family." After saying that, he took out the bronze X/flawless walnut tree that he had just nurtured in the spirit lock spatial zone from the diamond face storage box. When he saw that Lin Yuan had taken out a walnut tree with such a thin trunk, he was shocked. Rode was a little disappointed. A walnut tree with such a thin trunk was less than 5 years old. A walnut tree that was less than 5 years old could not bear walnuts. What was the use of holding such a walnut tree in his hand? But when Rode took a closer look at the walnut tree in Lin Yuan's hand, which was only as thick as a wrist, Rode could not help but take a deep breath. Then, his face revealed an ecstatic expression. "Lord Lin Yuan, are you sure you want to use this bronze/flawless walnut tree to exchange for our Luo family's 26 walnut trees? A bronze/flawless walnut tree would definitely bear bronze/flawless walnut trees. A bronze/flawless walnut tree could only be nurtured by a Class 3 creation master." Lin Yuan was using something of this level to exchange for his family's walnut tree. He had picked up a big bargain. This bronze/flawless walnut tree that was as thick as a wrist would become the Luo family's real money tree after a few years of nurturing. Although bronze/flawless walnuts were not as expensive as silver/epic walnuts, it would not be difficult for them to be auctioned for 3 million deep Brahmin coins. It would not be difficult for a pair to be auctioned for 3 million deep Brahmin coins. Rode had already thought of releasing the news that the Luo family had a bronze/flawless walnut tree. In Nanma City and the surrounding cities, there would be many people breaking their heads to order a pair of bronze/flawless walnuts from him. Rode immediately went to the backyard and uprooted all 26 walnut trees. Looking at the 26 walnut trees that Rode had given him, Lin Yuan found that 8 of them bore fruit. Therefore, Lin Yuan left the 8 object walnut trees that bore fruits behind. He then placed the remaining 18 walnut trees in the spirit lock spatial zone and asked Genius to bring them to the swamp world to be planted. As for these 8 walnut trees that bore fruit, Lin Yuan planned to nurture them to epic quality first. He would then give them to Genius to bring to the swamp world to nurture. The bronze/epic walnut tree that Lin Yuan had just enhanced had borne 60 walnuts for him. Including the walnuts produced by these 8 walnut trees, Lin Yuan should have 540 bronze/epic walnuts in his hand. That was 270 pairs. The rarer something was, the greater its value. Every pair of bronze/epic walnuts had a sky-high price in the Divine Wood Federation. 270 pairs of walnuts were enough for Lin Yuan to use for a long time. End of this chapter. Chapter 1400. In less than half an hour, Luo Ye had changed into a fur cloak and boots made from the Luo family's tailor's diamond purple plum jumping deer fur. After changing into clothes made from diamond fei fur, Luo Ye looked much better than before. After all, the fur of the diamond purple plum jumping deer was comparable to the white fur coat that Jian Li was wearing. It might even be better than Jian Li's fur coat. Under Luo Ye and Rhode's lead, Lin Yuan did not ride Blackie. Instead, he rode on Lu Jie's hurricane owlet moths. The 4 hurricane owlet moths controlled the wind elements around Lin Yuan and carried him forward in the air. It was as though Lin Yuan was standing in the air. In Lin Yuan's opinion, this was a very low-key travel method, but in Rode and Luo Ye's eyes, it was shocking. Along the way, Rode and Luo Ye were constantly amazed by Lin Yuan's and Lu Jie's foundation. The 3 of them used 12 diamond moth fays as transportation. These 12 moth fays were not fantasy breeds and could not compare to the black flood dragon. However, it was absolutely unimaginable for Rode and Luo Ye, who lived in Nanma City. Was this the life of a hidden aristocratic clan's descendant? 2 sets of clothes of immeasurable value and 2 traveling methods that involved diamond fays in a day. This was simply too luxurious and extravagant. Jian Li, Zhang Tong, and the Zhang family's patriarch were waiting outside the auditorium to welcome Lin Yuan. For this reception, Zhang Tong and the Zhang family's patriarch had changed into the luxurious clothes that they usually wore when attending grand gatherings. However, after seeing Lin Yuan, Ji Feng, and Lu Jie, Jian Li, Zhang Tong, and the others suddenly felt that there was actually no difference whether they wore luxurious clothes or not. That was right, their luxurious clothes could not even compare to the casual clothes they wore during the day. There was nothing to be ashamed of if they could not compare to luxurious clothes. The way the 3 of them dressed and traveled to this banquet let everyone present know who the real distinguished guests of this banquet were. After receiving Zhang Tong's call, the Zhang family's patriarch, Zhang Xian, was very disappointed with Jian Li's approach. During this period of time, Zhang Xian had been weighing the pros and cons of relying on the Jian family. From the rotten venomous snake flood dragon incident, it was enough to show that relying on the Jian family was not reliable at all. At a critical moment, the Zhang family was likely to be abandoned by the Jian family. The reason why the Zhang family relied on the Jian family was to seek development. If the Jian family couldn't meet the expectations of the Zhang family, no matter how powerful the Jian family was, there was no need for the Zhang family to rely on the Jian family. Of course, he still had to keep up appearances and lick Jian Li's boots. It was better not to let Jian Li notice anything. The night was waning, and the nightmare spirit gold beads embedded on Lin Yuan's white boots released spirit qi that permeated the 34 tiger-shaped totems embroidered with completely jade-textured white sandalwood patterns. It made Lin Yuan feel as though 34 white tigers with different postures were crawling under his feet. With every step Lin Yuan took, he would have an indescribable aura. It was as if a white tiger was accompanying him. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, Zhang Tong prepared to welcome him as the host. However, just as Zhang Tong was about to step forward, he was stopped by Jian Li. Jian Li quickly stepped forward and walked to Lin Yuan's side. "How should I address you, young master?" Young master's attire is really a little out of place in Nanmu City. Even in Holy Forest City, young master's luxurious attire is definitely like this. As he spoke, Jian Li gave Lin Yuan a thumbs up with a bright smile on his face, making it clear that he wanted to befriend Lin Yuan. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows. This set of luxurious attire could only be considered to be above average among all of his clothes. Wen Yu had recently made a lot of clothes for Lin Yuan, and those clothes were even embroidered with heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls. Compared to those, this set of luxurious attire was much inferior. Jian Li's words definitely had some suspicion that he was trying to befriend and curry favor with Lin Yuan. However, Jian Li's words were enough for Lin Yuan to understand the living conditions of those aristocrats in the Divine Wood Federation's capital, Holy Forest City. As the 83rd sequence of the Divine Wood 100, the people Jian Li came into contact with were definitely not the top of the Divine Wood Federation. However, Jian Li's words just now showed that he had seen similar luxurious attire. This was enough to prove that the aristocrats of the Divine Wood Federation were extravagant. However, the more extravagant these aristocrats were, the better it was. The more extravagant these noble descendants were, the more expensive the bronze/epic walnuts in Lin Yuan's hands would be. Lin Yuan didn't ignore Jian Li's goodwill. "My surname is Lin," Jian Li replied with a smile. "Young Master Lin, today at Nanma Square, everything was a misunderstanding. Please don't take it to heart. If young Master Lin goes to St. Forest City in the future, please inform me. Who knows, I might be able to help young Master Lin in some matters." Jian Li went straight to the point and expressed his purpose. Because Jian Li knew that a person who could wear such luxurious clothes wouldn't be in the mood to chat with him. If he didn't get to the point, he might be annoyed. Jian Li did not clearly state his identity in this sentence. However, Luo Ye had already told Lin Yuan about her identity. Jian Li's seemingly friendly words indicated what he could do for Lin Yuan if they were friends. This way of communication was very popular among the nobles of the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan was originally thinking about how to get in touch with Jian Li at the banquet. Now, he hadn't done anything, and Jian Li had taken the initiative to make friends with him. "I'll go to St. Forest City in the future. If there's anything, I naturally won't be polite and will trouble young Master Jian." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's response, Jian Li hurriedly turned sideways and said, "The Zhang family's banquet is well organized. I deliberately asked the Zhang family to add a few dishes. Young Master Lin, take a look and see if they suit your taste." While turning sideways, Jian Li's gaze landed on Luo Ye. With just one glance, Jian Li could see how extraordinary the purple fur cloak on Luo Ye was. The dark purple cloak that Luo Ye had been wearing had rough and dry fur, making her look like a country girl. But now, Luo Ye's light purple fur coat actually emitted a faint light purple soft light against the starlight in the night. It seemed that the light purple fur coat on Luo Ye was definitely from a diamond fae. It was impossible for the Luo family to obtain such a fur coat. A platinum ferocious beast was enough to destroy the Luo family. Luo Ye had just invited Lin Yuan to the Luo family as a guest in the morning, and she was now wearing such a diamond light purple fur coat. The origin of this light purple fur coat was self-evident. Jian Li sighed inwardly at the Luo family's good luck. A diamond rank fur coat of such quality would cost at least 1 million Brahmin coins to bid for. As a direct descendant of an aristocratic family in St. Forest City, the fur coat he used was only of this standard. End of this chapter. Chapter 1401. Zhang Tong and Zhang Xen had already noticed the light purple fur coat that Luo Ye was wearing. Zhang Xian immediately understood how he should treat the Luo family in the future. In the future, the Luo family would have to support this Nanmucheng. However, before Zhang Xian and Zhang Tong could feel envious of the Luo clan, they were infuriated by Jian Li's words. This was an apology reception hosted by the Zhang family to welcome young Master Lin. Zhang Tong had wanted to apologize earlier, but you had stopped him. Now, it was as if you, Jian Li, had become the host of the banquet. What do you mean you deliberately added a lot to this banquet? You never showed up in the hall all afternoon. This cocktail party that the Zhang family had arranged with real money had instead become a wedding dress for Jian Li. This caused Zhang Tong and Zhang Xen to feel even more indignant. However, neither of them had the guts to show their dissatisfaction to Jian Li. However, this also made Zhang Tong realize that it wasn't just the Jian family that he couldn't rely on. Jian Li was also a person that he definitely couldn't befriend. After entering the auditorium, Lin Yuan realized that apart from all kinds of spirit fruits, there were all kinds of roasted spirit beast meat. When paired with the red and yellow sauce, Lin Yuan didn't have much of an appetite. Lin Yuan, who had come to the Divine Wood Federation to train for a period of time, had eaten barbecue many times. Compared to the barbecued meat and spirit fruits, Lin Yuan preferred to eat the exquisite side dishes and snacks made by Lu Jie and Zhong Zhe. Jian Li stood by Lin Yuan's side for the entire night, thinking of ways to strike up a conversation with Lin Yuan and speculating his identity. He wanted to see which hidden aristocratic clan in the deep lush federation he came from. However, the more he tried, the more dizzy Jian Li felt. Sensing that Lu Jie was obviously a little impatient, Jian Lizai walked up to the Zhang family's head, Zhang Xin. He was prepared to discuss the cooperation with Zhang Xin. Upon seeing Jian Li leave Lin Yuan's side, Zhang Tong hurried over. He bowed deeply to Lin Yuan and said, "You're right. Young Master Lin, thank you for forgiving the corrosive serpent flood dragon at the Nanmu Square. This is an apology gift from my father." After saying that, Zhang Tong took out a wooden box and solemnly handed it to Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan saw the wooden box that Zhang Tong handed over, he revealed a playful expression. Lin Yuan had long seen through the twists and turns on the Nanmu Plaza. If he didn't have the strength, he was afraid that after the rotten snake Jiao Dragon ate Luoya and rode, he wouldn't be able to survive. He would also become a meal for the corrosive venomous flood dragon. This apology cocktail prepared for him would become Jian Li's welcoming party. At this time, he might have already been pulled out by the corrosive poisonous flood dragon. Ji Feng, who was standing behind Lin Yuan, stepped forward and opened the wooden box in Zhang Tong's hand. Lin Yuan found a pair of bronze/flawless object storage walnuts lying in this wooden box. It was likely that the Zhang family's patriarch, Zhang Xian, had personally nurtured it. A pair of apologetic items worth around 3 million Brahmin coins was enough to show the sincerity of the Zhang family. However, Lin Yuan was not interested in this pair of bronze/flawless object-holding walnuts. Lin Yuan reached out to grab the pair of walnuts and played with them. The two walnuts collided and let out a crisp sound. Upon seeing Lin Yuan take the pair of walnuts, Zhang Tong's face immediately lit up. However, when Zhang Tong looked up, he saw Lin Yuan throw the pair of bronze/flawless object-holding walnuts back to him. "I'm not interested in your Zhang family's apologetic gift. This banquet is so boring. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave." Lin Yuan said this because this cocktail party was indeed boring. Secondly, Lin Yuan wanted to use this method to force Zhang Tong to reveal the Zhang family's purpose as soon as possible. If the Zhang family had no purpose, there would be no need to give him an apologetic gift. Since they wanted to give an apologetic gift to build a relationship, the Zhang family must have a motive. On the way from the underground palace to Nanmu City, Lin Yuan realized that Nanmu City's geographical location was very special. Outside Nanmu City was a boundless ironwood forest, which was considered a kind of cash crop. However, the ironwood's roots could penetrate 100 meters into the ground. In addition, it was very difficult for phase below silver to cut off a branch from the ironwood forest. This made it very difficult for Nanmu City to expand. As a result, Nanmu City became the southernmost border city of the Divine Wood Federation. One side of Nanmu City was a high mountain, while the other side was a rapid river. This made Nanmu City an isolated city between two natural barriers. In the future, once the forbidden area created by Silver Splendor was discovered by the world, the Divine Wood Federation's experts would want to explore the forbidden area. The only choice would be Nanmu City. As for the Iron Hammer Federation, Lin Yuan already had plans to borrow Teray's Iron Hoof tribe to apply to the Iron Hammer dynasty to divide the territory and build a majestic city. When the majestic city was built, the Iron Hammer Federation's people would want to explore the forbidden area. They would definitely rest in the city built by the Iron Hoof tribe. If Lin Yuan could control Nanmu City again, then the Iron Hammer Federation and the Divine Wood Federation would have any plans for the forbidden area. Lin Yuan would be able to know the news in advance and respond. Therefore, the moment he arrived at Nanmu City, Lin Yuan had the idea of controlling Nanmu City. If the Zhang family's request was helpful to his plan, Lin Yuan didn't mind helping the Zhang family. If the Zhang family's plan was different from his, Lin Yuan could completely suppress the Zhang family and help the Luo family rise. In the face of the walnut that Lin Yuan threw back, Zhang Tong hurriedly bowed and caught it. He was afraid that the sound of the walnut falling on the ground would attract Jian Li's attention. His father hadn't been able to tactfully reject the cooperation with Jianli yet. If Jianli knew that he was trying to rope in Lin Yuan, the Jian family would definitely become enemies with the Zhang family. Lin Yuan said that this reception was boring, which made Zhang Tong very anxious. Zhang Tong was still full of confidence. After all, he really couldn't think of anyone who would reject a gift of 2 or 3 million deep Brahmin coins. Lin Yuan's refusal made Zhang Tong panic for a moment. His request to Lin Yuan concerned the Zhang family's future. Once the opportunity slipped away, it would never come back. Zhang Tong steeled his heart and said frankly, "Young Master Lin, the Zhang family would like to discuss a cooperation with you." "Young Master Lin, the Zhang family would like to discuss a cooperation with you." "Young Master Lin, our Zhang family will provide resources for our Chamber of Commerce, and our Creation Master resources will all be at your service." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan took out a pair of bronze/epic walnuts from the diamond Fei storage box. The vermilion walnuts rotated in Lin Yuan's palm and collided with each other, emitting a jade-like sound. Zhang Tong was stunned when he saw the walnuts that Lin Yuan had just taken out. "I can't be mistaken, right? This is actually a pair of bronze/epic walnuts." Zhang Tong originally thought that Lin Yuan wasn't interested in his walnuts because he didn't have the habit of playing with walnuts as a member of the Deep Brahmin Federation. He had given the wrong gift. Only now did Zhang Tong realize that Lin Yuan simply didn't like his gift. Chapter 1402. However, he didn't know that the pair of bronze/epic walnuts that Lin Yuan had taken out had been auctioned for a high price. Or was it because Lin Yuan had the resources of a Class 4 Creation Master that could nurture a bronze/epic walnut tree? Looking at Lin Yuan's luxurious clothes, Zhang Tong felt that the latter was possible. The Deep Enlightenment Federation's hidden aristocratic clans all had the habit of spending a lot of money to consecrate high-class creation masters. Zhang Tong was afraid and excited at the same time. If the Zhang clan's cooperation with the Jian clan was like asking a tiger for its skin, then cooperating with Lin Yuan was like asking for a living under a giant dragon. Asking a tiger for its skin, as long as there was an opportunity, one could still escape unscathed. However, if one were to make a living under a giant dragon, a single sneeze from the giant dragon would shatter one's body. Only a giant dragon like Lin Yuan could bring a bright future to the Zhang clan. While Zhang Tong was thinking, Lin Yuan said, "Class 3 creation masters aren't very useful to me. Compared to your Zhang clan's strength, I value Nanmacity more." Zhang Tong's expression froze when he heard Lin Yuan's words. Zhang Tong's expression froze when he heard Lin Yuan's words. Zhang Tong knew that Lin Yuan was expressing his stance. After clearly telling him that the Zhang clan's creation master resources weren't attractive, he also expressed what he really needed. Zhang Tong immediately said, "The Zhang clan is the strongest in Nanmacity. The 4 Class 2 Creation Master clans can only rely on our Zhang clan. The Zhang clan is the strongest in Nanmacity, and the 4 Class 2 Creation Master clans can only rely on our Zhang clan. To be honest, young Master Lin, our Zhang clan plans to clean up Nanmacity's resources next month and annex those Class 2 Creation Master clans. The Huang clan and our Zhang clan are in-laws, and they have long been on the same side as us. The Meng clan, Li clan, and Luo clan were originally targets to be cleaned up. The Luo clan's Luo Ya is on good terms with you, so our Zhang clan will definitely treat the Luo clan well." Zhang Tong wanted to continue but was interrupted by Ji Feng, who was standing beside Lin Yuan. "Your Zhang clan's advantage is nothing in our young master's eyes. Since you know our young master is on good terms with the Luo clan, why do you think our young master will cooperate with your Zhang clan and not support the Luo clan? If our young master wishes for it, the Luo family's family head, Luo Da, will be able to obtain a pinnacle diamond Fei tonight. He will be able to compete with your Zhang family's platinum/fantasy breed corrosive venomous snake flood dragon. Even if the Luo family has another Class 4 creation master, it will be a small matter for our young master. Your Zhang family chose to annex those Class 2 creation master clans for the sake of loyalty and didn't work together with them. As the young master of the Zhang family, I think you should be very clear about what our young master wants. Zhang Tong was so shocked by Ji Feng's words that he was momentarily speechless. Zhang Tong believed that Road would obtain a pinnacle diamond phaetonite. It was truly shocking that Lin Yuan could allow a Class 4 creation master to oversee the Luo family. Class 4 creation masters were all influential figures at the top of the clouds. When did Class 4 creation masters become so cheap? Zhang Tong glanced at his father, who was currently conversing with Jian Li, and gritted his teeth as he made up his mind. He spoke to Lin Yuan with a sincere tone. "Young Master Lin, before the banquet, Father told me that I can make decisions on behalf of the Zhang family. My Zhang family is willing to submit to you." Just as Zhang Tong finished speaking, Luo Ye, who had been secretly watching Lin Yuan, walked over with a wine glass and said softly to Lin Yuan, "Lin Yuan, if you trust me, I can help you look after the Zhang family." "Lin Yuan, if you trust me, I can help you look after the Zhang family." Lin Yuan had heard Luo Ye introduce the factions in Nanmu City. However, only the Zhang family, Huang family, and Luo family were participating in tonight's banquet. It turned out that the Zhang family was planning to make a move on the other two families and had already excluded them from Nanmu City's influence. Lin Yuan trusted Luo Ye, so he asked her to represent the Luo family to look after the Zhang family. With the two families supervising and restraining each other, Lin Yuan could easily control Nanmu City. Lin Yuan tossed the pair of bronze/epic walnuts to Luo Ye and Zhang Tong respectively. Luo Ye and Zhang Tong were overjoyed when they received the walnuts. However, the two of them were overjoyed for different reasons. They weren't overjoyed because of the value of the bronze/epic walnuts. Zhang Tong was happy that Lin Yuan had accepted the Zhang family. The Zhang family would soar in the future. On the other hand, Luo Ye was happy that she had finally touched something that Lin Yuan's palm had touched. No matter what happened in the future, Luo Ye would treasure this walnut for the rest of her life. Lin Yuan said softly as he looked at Zhang Tong and Luo Ye. "After the two of you clean up Nanmu City, I will make a pair of walnuts for the two of you. In the future, I will think of a way to have the Chamber of Commerce establish a branch in Nanmu City. For now, all you need to do is develop as before." After saying that, he turned around and left the banquet with Lu Jie and Maple. Looking at the night sky, Lin Yuan revealed a smile. From now on, Nanmu City would be under his control. Ji Feng, who had just returned to the treehouse, had a glint in his eyes. He said to Lin Yuan, "Don't worry. Young master, I've found the person you asked me to find, Ling Lian. According to your instructions, after Ling Lian found her, she has been secretly observing her and has not made any contact with her. Right now, she's eating the rotten fruit that she found in the trash can. There are many abrasions on her body, and one of her legs seems to be broken. In just an hour, the injury to her soul has acted up twice." Speaking up to this point, Ji Feng thought of himself. It could be said that this person was in the same situation as him. However, his situation in the Divine Wood Federation was much better than that of the woman who was struggling to survive in the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan had expected Su Yiren to be in such a miserable state. The lives of ordinary people in the Shenmue Federation were already so difficult, let alone a scavenger like Su Yiren. After sleeping tonight, he planned to head to Oak City the next morning. Since Ji Feng's water lily had already found Su Yiren, there was no need for him to call her. Tomorrow, Lin Yuan would meet with the current Dark Envoy and experience the elegance of the current Dark Envoy. In the treehouse, Lin Yuan felt very comfortable at first. But late at night, because the plants would breathe out water vapor, the treehouse slowly became damp. Lin Yuan had no choice but to release Bai Lan and let her control the water vapor. Only then did the inside of the treehouse become dry again. After sleeping in the treehouse once, Lin Yuan expressed that he did not want to sleep there a second time. The next morning, after eating breakfast prepared by Lu Jie, Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng were ready to embark on the journey to Oak City. However, Lin Yuan did not summon Blackie this time. Instead, he let Lu Jie and Ji Feng enter the treasure cave Golden Cicada's skin and stomach pouch. The hurricane owlet moths that Lu Jie had let the insect queen produce had already carefully arranged the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles on the road from Nanmu City to Oak City. These tentacles would automatically form tentacle nodes, and Lin Yuan only needed to use the node teleportation ability. He would be able to go back and forth between Nanma City and Oak City in a short time. Chapter 1403. In less than 5 minutes, Lin Yuan silently appeared in Oak City. Oak City was indeed a big city in the Divine Wood Federation. Its streets were more than 3 times wider than Nanma City. The tree houses in Nanma City were at most 12 to 13 meters tall, with 3 or 4 floors. However, the tree houses in Oak City were all like tree castles, and it was normal for them to be 20 to 30 meters tall. Not far from Lin Yuan, there was a giant tree fortress that was nearly 100 meters tall. The sign hanging in front of the tree fortress had the words, "Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce," written on it. In just a short while, many people had already entered and left the entrance of the tree fortress with the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's signboard. There were 2 kinds of people entering and leaving the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. The other type were travel-worn, black-haired, black-eyed caravan members from the Deep Venom Federation. The other type were the nobles of Oak City dressed in exquisite clothing. He was very interested in the chambers of commerce that were controlled by the reclusive noble families in the Deep Lush Federation. He intended to see if he could use any connections here. He wanted to buy plant phase that could produce weather phenomena. Lin Yuan released Lu Jie and Ji Feng from the artifact and led them to the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. 2 blue-clothed attendants were standing at the entrance of Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. These 2 blue-clothed attendants were carefully watching the guests entering and exiting the chamber. Many of them wanted to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, but they were stopped by the 2 blue-clothed attendants. When Lin Yuan saw this scene, he immediately knew that there was a threshold to enter the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Apart from the members of the Deep Revel Caravan, ordinary customers who wanted to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce would have to pay a visit. The clothes and accessories worn on the body must meet a certain standard. He felt that it was rather strange to wear the ticket on his body for inspection. However, he had to admit that this method was very suitable for the customs of the Divine Wood Federation. Before Lin Yuan could reach the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, there was a sudden commotion at the entrance. They saw a short man dressed in leaf clothes being stopped by 2 attendants at the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Leaf clothing was the most common type of clothing in the Divine Wood Federation. However, the nobles of the Divine Wood Federation would never wear this kind of leaf clothing. People who wore leaf clothing in the Divine Wood Federation were basically ordinary people. This kind of attire obviously didn't meet the requirements to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. When Lin Yuan walked closer, he heard a blue-clothed attendant say in an unfriendly tone, "You do not meet the requirements to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Please leave immediately. Don't delay the opening of our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce." Just as Lin Yuan was about to walk past this short man and enter the door, Lin Yuan heard an immature and stubborn voice. "I beg of you, please make an exception and let me in. I brought money. I want to exchange for 5 days' worth of inflammation-lowering grass inside." After saying that, the short man seemed to want to prove something. He carefully took out a bulging small cloth bag from his bosom. The short man opened the bag and handed it to the blue-clothed waiter with a hopeful expression. The bag was filled with dirty and messy metal coins. The common currency of the Deep Brahmin Federation, Divine Wood Federation, and Iron Hammer Federation was the Deep Brahmin dollar. Deep Brahmin coins are made of crystal. The metal coins in the bag were the inferior local currency of the Divine Wood Federation that was not recognized by the Deep Burn Federation. It was just like the Radiance Federation's Federation dollars. This currency could be exchanged with deep Sanskrit coins, but metal coins could not be circulated in the Chamber of Commerce. To put it bluntly, these merchant guilds that were based in the Deep Burn Federation did not recognize metal coins. Upon hearing that young and tender voice, Lin Yuan turned around and realized that it was a young girl. The short person wearing the leaf clothes should be a 13 or 14-year-old girl. The stubborn look in the girl's eyes was somewhat similar to Chu Si's, who had insisted on buying his medicine back then. Lin Yuan could not help but slow down. The blue-clothed attendant looked at the cloth bag that the young girl handed over with a conflicted expression, as if he was hesitating whether or not to let the young girl in. At this moment, an older blue-clothed waiter spoke. "If anything happens to her after you put her in, I'll tell the vice president that you made the decision on your own. Miss has come to the Chamber of Commerce to check the accounts today. If this child offends the young lady, will you be able to bear the responsibility?" When the younger waiter in blue clothes heard this, the tangled expression on his face suddenly became indifferent. The blue-clothed servant swung his hand forward and pushed the girl in the leaf clothes 2 steps back. The young girl gripped the cloth bag in her hand tightly, and the light of hope in her eyes suddenly dimmed. The young girl pursed her lips and looked around to make sure that no one was paying attention to her. Then she tied the cloth bag and carefully placed it in her bosom. Just as the young girl was about to leave, she felt a pair of warm hands land on top of her head. Before the young girl could raise her head, she heard a clear and pleasant voice coming from above. "If there's anything you want to buy, why don't you come in with me?" From the moment the young girl took out the cloth bag, Lin Yuan noticed that the young girl's fingers were covered with a thick layer of calluses. The young girl's fingers were very rough and did not have any sense of beauty to speak of. The young girl's fingernails were stained with a lot of black dirt. This black dirt was mostly due to the soil that had entered her fingertips, but the layer of black dirt had already invaded her fingertips. This meant that the young girl had done a lot of rough and dirty work. The young girl's finger pads were covered with densely packed fine wounds, and 2 of her fingers were still in a red and swollen state. The leaf clothes that the young girl wore were made of bitter hemp. The bitter hemp looked thick and dark green on the outside, but in fact, the bitter hemp leaves had small sharp thorns. When using bitter hemp to weave clothes, it was impossible for the hands not to have fine cuts. The inflammation-reducing grass was a kind of bronze spiritual ingredient that could reduce inflammation and remove rotten flesh. When used by some insect phase, the inflammation-reducing grass was also very effective. For a young girl who always did rough and tiring work to wear the bitter hemp clothes overnight, it was impossible for her to do it without a purpose. It seemed like this young girl wanted to save someone. The inflammation-reducing grass was a very common spiritual ingredient. However, this young girl did not dare to go to the caravan to exchange for it. This meant that the young girl had no one to rely on. For a young girl to exchange for the inflammation-reducing grass in a caravan, she might be targeted by people with ill intentions. When Lin Yuan recalled how the young girl looked around vigilantly and carefully placed the bag with the metal coins in her bosom, he felt a little heartache. He could not help but feel a little heartache. Lin Yuan decided to help this young girl. The young girl raised her head and looked at Lin Yuan. With just a glance, the young girl could not help but be stunned. At this moment, the young girl felt as though she had seen a deity. But soon, the young girl's eyes revealed a vigilant expression. She was like a small deer licking its wounds in the forest. As though she thought of something, the young girl, who was originally prepared to run away, suddenly had some courage. End of this chapter. Chapter 1404. The young lady shrunk her shoulders and said to Lin Yuan in a reserved manner, "Thank you, my lord. Thank you for bringing me in." When the 2 blue-clothed attendants saw that Lin Yuan was standing up for this young lady, their faces revealed looks of disbelief. He did not seem to understand why a nobleman dressed in luxurious clothes would meddle in such matters. The attendant in charge of guarding the door of the caravan had a unique vision and could immediately see that Lin Yuan's spirit chi clothing was extraordinary. However, the 2 envoys did not reveal the joy of having an honored guest. Instead, their expressions became even more solemn. People from the Deep Vendor Federation weren't rare in Oak City. Many large and small chambers of commerce had branches in Oak City. However, in Oak City, the people of the Deep Lush Federation who wore gorgeous clothes and had extraordinary statuses were often the leaders of the various merchant guilds. Or it could be said that the disciples of the hidden noble clans were inspecting their subordinate merchant associations. Because of this, there were very few nobles from the Deep Brahmin Merchant Guild that were in a competitive relationship with each other. The 2 attendants looked at each other, and one of them led Lin Yuan into the Chamber of Commerce. He immediately trotted upstairs to report to his superiors. After entering the interior of the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, Lin Yuan found that it looked somewhat similar to the rare life-form pavilions in the various cities and counties of the Radiance Federation. However, compared to the complete range of goods in the rare life-form pavilion, the goods in the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce were clearly more focused. The young lady entered the Chamber of Commerce and nervously said to Lin Yuan, "Sir, thank you for bringing me into the Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to exchange for the Inferno grass." Lin Yuan felt a little helpless when he heard the girl's words. Just as the young lady was about to leave, Lin Yuan spoke. "It's fine if the person you want to save is a C-rank spirit chi professional. If it's a D-rank spirit chi professional or an ordinary person, the inflammation-lowering herb's medicinal effect will have a huge side effect on the 5 organs, causing them to be congested with blood. If there are parasitic worms in this person's body, and those worms have drilled into the congested organs, it's impossible to save them without an outstanding healing class spirit chi professional." Lin Yuan's words made the young girl freeze on the spot. For a moment, helplessness and grievance welled up in the girl's heart. Bean-sized tears flowed from the young girl's round eyes, leaving 2 obvious tear stains on her small face. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan used his hand to gently wipe away the tears on the girl's face. As a result, Lin Yuan's hand was stuck to the dust on the young girl's face, and her face became a little dirty after Lin Yuan wiped it. He could understand the young lady's feelings. It was unknown how much pain and courage a girl with no one to rely on wanted to save up this bag of coins. But when the young girl was filled with hope that the metal coins she had saved up could save her life, however, he realized that he had been too naive. This kind of disappointment after despair and anticipation was enough to crush a strong-willed adult man. Not to mention a young girl. Since he had met this girl today and brought her into the Chamber of Commerce, he decided to be a good person to the end. Lin Yuan's fingertips flickered with green light, and the young girl's hands, which were full of fine scars, immediately recovered. Even the barbs on the girl's fingernails were all healed. "It just so happens that I'm a healer. Stay by my side for now. Once I'm done shopping at the Chamber of Commerce, I'll help you save them." When the young girl heard Lin Yuan's words, she revealed a pleasantly surprised expression and smiled through her tears. The vigilance in the girl's eyes disappeared completely after her hands were healed. The young girl didn't think that she had anything worthy of a healer's attention. In the eyes of ordinary people in the Divine Wood Federation, healer's status was not inferior to creation masters. After all, the ones who truly saved ordinary people's lives were not the creation masters but these healers. The young girl followed behind Lin Yuan quietly, afraid that she would disturb Lin Yuan's observation of the items on display in the Chamber of Commerce. When Lin Yuan walked to the 5th floor, he saw an old man dressed in dark blue clothes coming to greet him. "Young master, I'm the vice president of the Oak City branch of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. If you have anything you want, you might as well tell me directly. Or if you want to talk about business, you can talk to me as well." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan realized that this old man didn't treat him as an ordinary customer. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't mention business. Lin Yuan asked calmly, "Does your Flourishing Chamber of Commerce have a plant fey that can create a weather phenomenon?" Upon hearing that, the old man sized up Lin Yuan's attire again, as well as Lu Jia and Ji Feng behind him. Then he said, "There are many types of plant feys that can create a weather phenomenon. Clear yang flower, mist wind grass, snow crystal orchid, mist sunflower, and thunder cry chrysanthemum. Our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce currently has some of these 5 in stock. However, our Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce will put these materials up for auction. If young master is interested, you can participate in our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction next Thursday." At that time, these 5 types of plant feys that can create a weather phenomenon will all appear at the auction. If young master wishes to build a new castle and decorate a garden, apart from these 5 types of plant feys that can create a weather phenomenon, the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce will have other surprises waiting for young master to discover. When Lin Yuan heard the old man's advertisement for the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, he frowned slightly. If the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction was tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, Lin Yuan could still wait. However, today was Tuesday, and there were still 9 days until the next Thursday. Lin Yuan couldn't afford to wait for 9 days. I wonder if the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce can make an exception and let you appraise those pots of spirit plants that can create a weather phenomenon at the auction. I will bid for them now. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the old man thought to himself, could this youth really be here to buy things? After seeing through Lin Yuan's intention in coming to the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, the old man started to treat Lin Yuan as a real customer. Originally, as long as young master is able to pay the price, you can purchase the auction items in advance. The Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's invitation has yet to be sent out, and the auction items can still be changed. The old man let out a sigh and continued speaking. To be honest, our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce has encountered some trouble recently. The Deep Cold Chamber of Commerce and the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce have joined forces and wish to integrate the Chamber of Commerce's resources in Oak City. Our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction must attract enough people to be able to take a breather under the attacks of the Deep Cold Chamber of Commerce and the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce will have to put up for auction items as long as they are of good quality. The old man's meaning was very clear. He told Lin Yuan about the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's difficulties and the reason why they couldn't sell in advance. It was considered giving Lin Yuan enough face. Just as Lin Yuan was preparing to negotiate with the old man again, a gentle voice echoed behind him. End of this chapter. Chapter 1405. Young Master, our Flourishing Fan Auction will be auctioning a rainbow jade hibiscus. If Young Master is interested in those fey plants that can change the weather, I believe the rainbow jade hibiscus should be able to invite Young Master to participate in the Flourishing Fan Auction. When Lin Yuan turned around, the elder beside him quickly walked forward and said, "Young lady, why aren't you resting inside? Miss, why aren't you resting inside? Why did you come out?" The lady didn't reply to the elder immediately. Instead, she covered her face with her hand and started coughing. The woman's coughing only stopped when her face flushed red from all the coughing. Elder Duan, the account book is very clear, and Elder Duan has calculated every transaction. I didn't have to spend any effort. I heard that an esteemed guest from my hometown is visiting the Flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce, so I came out to take a look. Lin Yuan saw that the lady was wearing an apricot red gown, and there were many bright red feathers stuck on it. These bright red feathers came from a diamond phoenix species bloodline fey. In addition, this lady's expression was very firm and calm, and she had a temperament that could only be nurtured with 100 years of foundation. This temperament was somewhat similar to Sun Ningxiang's temperament. This lady should be from a prestigious and hidden clan in the Deep Lavender Federation. While Lin Yuan was sizing up this lady, the lady was also sizing him up without batting an eyelid. Lin Yuan was wearing a low-profile spirit chi attire today, and the only accessory on his body was a copper cauldron pendant. The design of the copper cauldron pendant was very simple. The copper cauldron was carved with cranes, and it was inlaid with 99 diamond-shaped sea veins. However, this copper cauldron accessory with a simple design was worth at least 6 million deep Brahmin coins. Apart from this accessory, the black spirit chi attire that Lin Yuan was wearing was all woven with black silk. It was embroidered with auspicious patterns, and it was made from the spider silk of a diamond dark-type arachnid fey. Just based on Lin Yuan's attire, this lady had a whole new level of respect for him. Ordinary descendants of wealthy clans liked to wear valuable items on their body to show off their nobility. Only those descendants of wealthy clans with a true foundation would be particular about their choice of accessories. It was rare for them to wear more than 2 accessories on their body. The youth before her undoubtedly belonged to the latter. Apart from the clothes he was wearing, Lin Yuan's bearing was even more admirable than his appearance. The woman took 2 steps forward and extended her hand to Lin Yuan. "Hello, I'm Li Wan, the president of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan reached out and gently shook the woman's hand. "My surname is Lin." At this time, Lin Yuan's thoughts were all on the rainbow jade hibiscus that Li Wan had just mentioned. Gray had obtained the following skills from Weather Cloud: Clear Weather Radiance, Cloudy Weather Shadow, Snowy Weather Freeze, and Windy Weather Roar. These 4 skills corresponded to the clear yang flower, mist sunflower, snow crystal orchid and wind mist grass respectively. The thunder chrysanthemum that the old man mentioned just now should correspond to the thunderstorm phenomenon. In nature, thunderstorms are very violent. It had an extremely strong lethality. Before reaching gold, Lin Yuan did not dare to let Gray try to absorb the thunderstorm phenomenon. However, if he had the thunder cry chrysanthemum, he would be able to absorb the thunderstorm aura immediately. The thunder cry chrysanthemum was a plant fey, and the intensity of the phenomenon it released was greatly related to its grade and quality. As long as he controlled the thunder cry chrysanthemum's grade and ensured that the thunderstorm phenomenon released by the thunder cry chrysanthemum would not hurt Gray. Sunny days, cloudy days, snowy days, strong winds, and thunderstorms were all very common natural phenomena. It was easy to encounter them in nature. The rainbow jade hibiscus that this woman named Li Wan mentioned corresponded to the unusually rare rainbow phenomenon. Gray had not had the chance to encounter a rainbow after a rainy day and absorb the rainbow phenomenon. If he could obtain the rainbow jade hibiscus and Gray absorbed the rainbow, he would definitely be able to obtain a new skill. If Lin Yuan did not know the existence of the rainbow jade hibiscus, perhaps he would not insist on trading with the flourishing chamber of commerce for the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon. There were many chambers of commerce in Oak City. The flourishing chamber of commerce was unwilling to sell for the auction, but there would always be other chambers of commerce willing to sell. Moreover, Lin Yuan could also use the sincere chamber of commerce's relationship to trade with the deep frost chamber of commerce. However, other chambers of commerce had the clear sunflower, fog sunflower, and other common spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon, but they did not necessarily have the rainbow jade hibiscus. As the president of the flourishing chamber of commerce, when Li Wan heard that Lin Yuan needed the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon, she mentioned the rainbow jade hibiscus. She wanted to attract Lin Yuan to participate in the flourishing chamber of commerce and gain some popularity for the auction. At that moment, Li Wan's gentle voice sounded in Lin Yuan's ears again. If young Master Lin can participate in the flourishing chamber of commerce, I can make the decision to reserve a private room for you. Young Master Lin, during the auction, you will not be disturbed by others. It was Li Wan's first time meeting Lin Yuan today. From Li Wan's many invitations, Lin Yuan could feel the importance that the flourishing chamber of commerce placed on the auction. It seemed that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce had teamed up to integrate Oak City's Chamber of Commerce's resources, which made the flourishing Chamber of Commerce rather fearful. Now, the flourishing Chamber of Commerce did not want to sell the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon to him. Wasn't it to ensure that the flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction items were sufficient and of sufficient grade? Thinking of this, Lin Yuan looked at Li Wan and said softly, "The success of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce does not depend on these spirit plants that can produce the phenomenon. Only when other more attractive items appear in the auction will the flourishing Chamber of Commerce be truly lively." While speaking, a pair of bronze/epic material containing walnuts appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. Lin Yuan gently played with this pair of vermilion material containing walnuts in his hand. When Li Wan heard Lin Yuan's words at first, she thought that Lin Yuan still insisted on buying these spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon in advance. If that was the case, Li Wan would be greatly disappointed with Lin Yuan's demeanor. Elder Duan had clearly expressed the difficulties of the flourishing Chamber of Commerce, and she had invited Lin Yuan repeatedly to give him enough face. If Lin Yuan still wanted to force Lin Yuan at such a time, then Lin Yuan was not worthy of being treated as a friend by the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. However, when she saw the two bronze/epic material containing walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand, Li Wan's pupils suddenly shrank. She immediately understood what Lin Yuan meant. That's right. If this pair of bronze/epic material containing walnuts could appear in the flourishing Chamber of Commerce, why would they still need those spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon? Even the rainbow jade hibiscus could be sold in advance. In the Divine Wood Federation, spirit plants that could produce special phenomena like the rainbow jade hibiscus were very expensive. However, they were not very attractive. However, the bronze/epic material containing walnuts were different. Once the news of the bronze/epic material containing walnuts was released, Oak City's nobles would definitely be excited. Chapter 1406. Even in the large cities around Oak City, many nobles would fight for the bronze/epic object storing walnuts. He had specially come to Oak City to participate in the Sheng fan auction. It could be said that as long as they had this pair of bronze/epic object holding walnuts, the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would rise. Even if Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Li Origin Chamber of Commerce joined hands to suppress the other chambers of commerce, they would not be able to suppress Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's power. More importantly, Li Yuan found that the pair of bronze/epic object storage walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand had obviously not been played with before. Such bronze/epic walnuts were the most expensive. For some great nobles who were not short of money, they could not bear to have their walnuts being played with for a period of time. The pair of walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand was just enough to satisfy the divine wood aristocrat's psychological cleanliness. Li Yuan looked around and found a few customers who had been looking at the goods on the 5th floor. From time to time, she would glance in his direction. Li Yuan hurriedly gestured for Lin Yuan to go ahead. "Young Master Lin, why don't you come to the VIP lounge for a drink? It seems like we've neglected our esteemed guest in this grand event." Lin Yuan knew that Li Yuan understood his meaning, so he gently tossed the walnut in his hand. "Since Guild Master Li Yuan treats me as an honored guest, then I, Lin, hope that the flourishing fan auction will be filled with people and that both the host and the guests will enjoy themselves." When Li Yuan saw Lin Yuan tossing the bronze/epic walnuts, she confirmed that Lin Yuan really intended to exchange them for the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. However, even if the price of the spirit plants that could produce a weather phenomenon was several times higher, it would not be enough to exchange for a bronze/epic walnut storage. Li Yuan glanced at Elder Duan and said, "Bring the catalog that I drafted last night to young Master Lin and see if there are any items that he is interested in." When the old man heard this, he responded with a smile. "Miss, don't worry. I'll bring the catalog over and send it to the VIP room for young Master Lin to take a look." The old man had seen how much effort Li Yuan had put into this auction recently. But the old man couldn't help much. It was true that the Li family was a reclusive aristocratic family of the Deep Burn Federation, but it had declined due to that incident. They could not be compared to the reclusive grand clans behind Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce currently had 47 branches in the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. However, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Source Chamber of Commerce had more than 100 branches in the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. The branches of Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce were being suppressed by Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. The Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's branch in Oak City could be ranked in the top 5 among the 47 branches. Therefore, the Oak City branch of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce couldn't have any mishaps. Otherwise, the caravans under the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would lose the only transit station between the Shenwu Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. Now, things had finally taken a turn. Li Yuan had chosen to bring Lin Yuan to the VIP room because Lin Yuan was an honored guest of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Making a deal in the VIP lounge would show how much importance he attached to the deal. On the other hand, the chambers of commerce would send spies to each other. Li Yuan could not guarantee that the other customers on the 5th floor were not spies sent by other merchant houses. If his conversation with Lin Yuan was overheard by others, he would definitely be killed. It was inevitable that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Source Chamber of Commerce would take action. The Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce was in a precarious situation and depended on himself. Li Yuan could not let the Flourishing Prosperity auction, which would determine whether the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce could make a comeback, suffer any accidents. On the way to the VIP lounge, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the girl beside him. The expression of this girl, who had not spoken much, became more and more nervous. Lin Yuan stretched out his hand and gently rubbed the girl's head. "I have the inflammation-reducing grass here. You don't need to buy more. When I get what I want, I will help you save the person." While speaking, Lin Yuan took out an inflammation-reducing grass and handed it to the girl. When the girl saw the inflammation-reducing grass in Lin Yuan's hand, she hurriedly took it and held it in her arms. She looked up at Lin Yuan with eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, big brother." This scene caused Li Yuan's eyes to flicker. Li Yuan had come to see Lin Yuan because she had received a report from the blue-clothed attendant. Therefore, Li Yuan knew that this girl and Lin Yuan had coincidentally met at the entrance of the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. From the interaction between Lin Yuan and the girl, Li Yuan could see that Lin Yuan was very kind. Otherwise, he would not help a girl who looked like she was from a poor family. This caused Li Yuan's view of Lin Yuan to slightly change. In Li Yuan's view, Lin Yuan's behavior was not in line with the style of the Deep Lush Federation's hidden noble family. But it was undeniable that Lin Yuan was shining. When they reached the VIP lounge, Luo Ye directly picked up a jar from the shelf. Then, she came to the table and picked up the crystal cup on the table. This is the elephant bone wine made from the giant elephant's bones that have been soaked for dozens of years. It is considered my clan's secret. Have a taste. After speaking, Luo Ye was about to pour the wine into the cup. When Li Yuan had just filled the first crystal cup and was about to pour the second cup, Lin Yuan reached out his hand to stop Li Yuan. "Only one of the three of us is drinking. You have a cough disease, so it is not convenient for you to drink." After speaking, Lin Yuan handed the cup full of wine to Ji Feng. Ji Feng usually had the habit of drinking a cup when eating. Now that he had encountered the elephant bone wine of the Deep Lush Federation's noble family, the wine bug in Ji Feng's stomach had long been hooked. Ji Feng took the elephant bone wine that Lin Yuan handed over and took a sip. This elephant bone wine should be made by soaking the diamond elephant bone, elephant blood, and elephant grapevine together. It's like the pungent smell of blood being masked by the wine. It's very flavorful. When Li Yuan saw that Lin Yuan's eyes were clear and he said that he didn't drink alcohol, she was stunned. He suddenly felt that Lin Yuan was like a brewer. People who made wine were always clear-headed, and they could take care of themselves at all times and in all places. The concern in the second half of Lin Yuan's words let Li Yuan know that Lin Yuan was a person who was willing to think for others. This made Li Yuan curious. Which hidden family did Lin Yuan come from? Could it be that the hidden grand family that Lin Yuan belonged to only had one direct bloodline? Don't you need to fight for it? Don't you need to fight for it? As long as there was a need to fight, it was impossible to develop such a kind and considerate personality. Before Li Yuan could think more, Ji Feng's words stunned Li Yuan. Although Ji Feng didn't tell them the entire formula of the elephant bone wine, he was able to make it. But the main ingredients, Ji Feng, were not wrong at all. It was as though he had personally participated in the soaking of the elephant bone wine. This meant that this man, who looked rather mature, must have been drinking on a daily basis. And all the wine he drank was good wine. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to have such a tongue that was good at tasting wine. Chapter 1407. Ji Feng had just addressed Lin Yuan as young master, which meant that Ji Feng was just a servant of Lin Yuan. When did servants get to drink such good wine? Li Yuan took a deep breath and took the juice that she had just pressed. He poured a cup for Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and the little girl beside Lin Yuan. At first, the little girl had stage fright. The little girl clearly wanted to drink the juice in the glass, but she didn't dare to pick it up. Lin Yuan handed the juice in his hand to the little girl and said, "That's right. Drink it. If it's not enough, I'm sure President Li won't mind giving you a refill." After saying that, Lin Yuan handed the red jade-like bronze/epic walnut in his hand to Li Yuan and said, "This pair of walnuts should be enough to exchange for all the spirit plants that can produce chi phenomena in your flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, right?" When Li Yuan heard that, she took the walnut that Lin Yuan handed over and carefully examined it. After some investigation, Li Yuan's expression suddenly changed. When the pair of walnuts was brought closer, one could smell a very rich fragrance of plants. This meant that this pair of walnuts had just been plucked from the tree, and the green skin had just been peeled off. It definitely wouldn't take more than 10 days. In that case, Lin Yuan was likely to have a bronze/epic walnut tree. Li Yuan, who had guessed this possibility, was no longer thinking about how to exchange for the pair of walnuts in Lin Yuan's hands. Instead, it was how to reach a long-term cooperation with him. With this pair of bronze/epic object holding walnuts, the Sheng Fan auction would gain enough popularity. However, this pair of bronze/epic object containing walnuts would eventually be auctioned off at the auction. Without this pair of walnuts, even if the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce had a reputation left, it would be useless. He still did not have the chips to fight against Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. If there could always be a bronze/epic quality object storing walnut appearing at the Sheng Fan auction, then why would the flourishing fan auction house not have to worry about not being able to make a name for itself under the pincer attack of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Source Chamber of Commerce? Li Wan organized her thoughts and said, "Young Master Lin, we have 7 clear yang flowers, 9 mist sunflowers, 6 snow crystal orchids, 7 wind orchids, and 4 thunder chrysanthemums. As for the rainbow jade hibiscus that is able to produce such a phenomenon, our Deep Buddhist Trade Union only has 1. According to the auction price, these 34 spirit herbs that can produce chi phenomena are worth a total of 6.4 million Brahmin coins. I'll make the decision and give you a 10% discount. The total will be 5.76 million Brahmin coins." As for young Master Lin's pair of bronze/epic walnuts, which no one has ever seen before, the auction price is at least 25 million Brahmin coins. This is the highest price ever paid for a bronze/epic walnut. It was sold at the Myriad Treasures auction in Shenglin City for 35 million deep Sanskrit coins. But the price of 35 million is too high. Our flourishing Chamber of Commerce can't afford it. How about this? I'll sell this pair of bronze/epic walnuts for 31 million yuan. What do you think, young Master Lin? When he had been in Nanma City, he had asked Zhang Tong and Luo Ya about the price of the bronze/epic storage walnuts. The price that Luo Ya and Zhang Tong had offered was around 28 million deep Brahmin coins, which was within the range that Li Wan had offered. It could be said that the price that Li Wan offered was very reasonable. When this pair of walnuts was auctioned at the flourishing fan auction, it could not be sold for 31 million deep Brahmin coins. After all, the highest price of an item at the auction often had a lot to do with fighting spirit. It seemed that Li Wan was not counting on this pair of bronze/epic storage walnuts to make money with him. Instead, it felt like she was spending money to buy fame. As for those fays that could produce chi phenomena, Li Wan even gave him a discount. It was equivalent to giving him hundreds of thousands of deep Brahmin coins. Lin Yuan was very satisfied with Li Wan's attitude. "I'll do as you say, President Li. Just now, President Li, you asked someone to give me the auction list. I want to buy some of the items on the list with the remaining 20 million deep Brahmin coins." "Of course. Don't worry, President Li. I have no intention of buying everything. I won't buy anything that I don't need. If there are items that I'm more interested in, I don't mind adding some more finale items to the deep fan auction." After saying that, a pair of vermilion walnuts appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. Lin Yuan's words delighted Li Wan. Li Wan was afraid that Lin Yuan would buy everything on the auction list. With this pair of bronze/epic storage walnuts, the flourishing fan auction's popularity was stabilized. However, if Lin Yuan bought all the other auction items, it would undoubtedly make the flourishing fan auction seem anticlimactic. If it was anticlimactic, people might look down on the flourishing fan Chamber of Commerce's foundation. At the same time, when Lin Yuan took out this pair of walnuts, Li Wan was sure that Lin Yuan must have a bronze/epic storage walnut tree. Otherwise, how could there be so many bronze/epic storage walnuts that had just fallen off the tree? This discovery made Li Wan determine Lin Yuan's identity. A hidden clan with an advanced Class 4 creation master or above was enough to stand at the peak of the deep fan auction. This kind of hidden and powerful clan was not something that a declining clan like his could compare to. At that moment, Elder Duan, who had gone to get the auction list, walked in. Apart from the auction list, Elder Duan was holding a tray. There were a total of 34 pots of spirit herbs on the tray. There seemed to be a miniature landscape in the sky above the tray. The sky was half clear and half dark. The clear side was blowing with violent winds, while the dark side was flashing with thunder and a snowstorm. A rainbow lay in the middle of the clear and dark sides, giving off a feeling that all the chi phenomena were fused together. Lin Yuan realized that the spirit herbs that could produce chi phenomena were all normal. Each of them was about the size of the flower brocade pearls and was only half the size of Lin Yuan's palm. These spirit herbs that could produce chi phenomena wouldn't take up much space in the spirit lock spatial zone. It would allow Gray to absorb all kinds of chi phenomena. These spirit herbs were all normal, which meant that the flourishing fan chamber of commerce should be nurturing them. Or rather, it should be a channel to purchase such spirit herbs. After receiving the list from Elder Duan, Lin Yuan didn't look at the contents immediately. Instead, he looked up at Li Wan and said, "I wonder if it is possible for me to order some phase that can produce chi phenomena from the flourishing fan chamber of commerce?" Li Wan was worried about how to establish a relationship with Lin Yuan to ensure future contact. Now, Lin Yuan's words coincidentally solved Li Wan's problem. Li Wan smiled and said, "Of course. Apart from the clear sunflower, fog sunflower, snow crystal orchid, wind orchid, and thunder cry chrysanthemum, there are also other items that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have. Also, I can get Mian Yuha that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have right now." End of this chapter. Chapter 1408. Speaking to here, Li smiled for a moment before continuing. "It's just that for spirit plants like the rainbow jade hibiscus that can produce special phenomena, it's all up to luck." Lin Yuan replied. "Then I'll take out 10 million from my remaining Sanskrit coins as a down payment to purchase these spirit herbs that can produce weather phenomena. From now on, the more spiritual plants like this, the better. I'll eat as many as your Sheng Fansheng Club can get." After saying that, Lin Yuan lowered his head and checked the auction list. Lin Yuan didn't want to collect so many spirit plants that could produce chi phenomena just for Gray. After Lin Yuan's investigation, he found that the swamp world did not have such weather. The swamp world had a humid and warm climate all year round, with no change of seasons. Such a climate was suitable for nurturing most plant-type phase. However, there were some plant phase that required 4 distinct seasons to be nurtured well. If one wanted to nurture such phase in the swamp world, they could only rely on these spirit plants that could produce weather phenomena. When Li Wan heard Lin Yuan's words, her heart trembled. Li Wan blushed with shame at Lin Yuan's nonchalant attitude toward the 10 million deep Brahma coins. Although Li Guan was in charge of the prosperous Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, the 47 branches of the Chamber of Commerce made a lot of money every day. But Li Wan could not really make Li Guan take out 10 million deep Brahman coins to squander. If the Chamber of Commerce wanted to operate, it needed a large amount of cash. Cash flow was a problem that Li Wan had been worrying about these past few years. After all, the Chamber of Commerce had to invest the cash they had earned from selling goods. Once the cash flow was cut off, the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would immediately stop doing business. For the flourishing auction that would be held in Oak City in a few days, Li Wan had invested a lot of money to advertise it. Lin Yuan's deposit of 10 million deep Brahman coins was considered Li Wan's urgent need for publicity. He was halfway through the list, but he didn't find anything that interested him. Most of the items on the auction list were furs and metals. Lin Yuan could have as many of these items as he wanted, and there was no need to trade with the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. After patiently looking on, Lin Yuan saw some Fey auction items. Among these Feys, the 2 most outstanding items were the Platinum X/Epic Flame Wood Hummingbird. One was a Bronze/Flawless Rain Rabbit. As a firewood dual elemental flying type Fey, the Flame Wood Hummingbird was rather small and couldn't carry humans. However, it possessed extremely powerful fire and wood elemental abilities. He could even hold it in his arms and raise it as a pet. Furthermore, the Flamewood Hummingbird was rather good-looking, and many spirit chi professionals would like it. The Rain Rabbit was a healing-type Fey, and this Bronze/Flawless Rain Rabbit had mediocre abilities and exclusive skills. But he won in terms of appearance. This was a good choice for some aristocratic girls in the Divine Wood Federation who were compatible with healing-type Feys. However, Lin Yuan was someone who could nurture Bronze/Epic Feys at any moment. Be it the flame-wood hummingbird or the sweet rain rabbit, they were too shabby in Lin Yuan's opinion. However, when he saw the last page of the list, he was immediately shocked by one of the finale items. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce actually dared to auction a Carcinoma Fey. Furthermore, it was an extremely sinister insect-type Carcinoma Fey. The black gold butterfly did not have a name on the list. The note stated that it was a newly discovered insect-type Carcinoma Fey. However, Lin Yuan immediately recognized what this insect species Carcinoma Fey was. This was the butterfly of Yin Yang. The Yin Yang chaotic butterfly was ranked 13th among all of the Spirit Guard's containment phase. The top 20 tumor phase that the Spirit Guards had taken in all had the same title, Fifth Calamity. The title, Fifth Calamity, referred to the release of any one of the Carcinoma phase. It could cause a natural disaster and cause the extinction of tens of thousands of races. The Yin Yang Chaos Butterfly was an insect-type Carcinoma Fey, not just one, but a pair. The pair was divided into a male and a female, which were the Yang and Yin Messy butterflies. The butterfly of Yin Yang could choose a creature of the same sex as itself to live as a parasite, and then reproduce in the body of this creature, using this creature's body as a nest. Then, through contact with other creatures of the same species, the butterfly of Yin Yang would quickly parasitize other creatures of the same sex as itself. In the end, it spread and infected the entire tribe. What was even more frightening was that the Yin Yang Chaos Butterfly could steal the thoughts and consciousness of a living being through parasitism. This was the same as bestowing intelligence to the insect-type Carcinoma Fey that acted on instinct. If the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce auctioned a pair of Yin Yang butterflies, it would be fine. However, there was only one Yin parasite butterfly in the auction of Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. The butterflies of Yin and Yang never left their side, so it was impossible for them to capture only one of them. Lin Yuan asked Li Wan solemnly, "When this insect species Carcinoma Fey was discovered, there should have been another Platinum Fey, right? Where's the Platinum one?" Hearing Lin Yuan's serious tone, Li Wan was slightly surprised. Could Lin Yuan have recognized this insect-type Carcinoma Fey? That must be it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that there was another platinum existence. Li Guan said with some regret. This pair of insect-type Carcinoma Feys were accidentally captured by a merchant group under the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. But in the process of transporting the goods to Oak City, the merchant group encountered a group of bandits. Although the hidden experts in the caravan managed to wipe out the bandits, they still accidentally broke the container containing the platinum butterfly. Upon hearing Li Wan's words, Lin Yuan clenched his fist. That Yang parasite butterfly had to be found. Otherwise, if the Yang parasite butterfly was allowed to develop freely, Oak City, the Divine Wood Federation, and even the entire Agon continent would fall into endless fear. Fortunately, the Yin parasite butterfly was not released. Otherwise, the fifth calamity would have already spread in Oak City. The Yang parasite butterfly's calamity was to parasitize all male life forms. It was only a parasite for now. However, if the Yin parasite butterfly started to parasitize female life forms, then the Yin Yang parasite butterfly would rapidly reproduce. All hosts that were transformed into insect nests would enter the same state under the control of the Yin parasite butterfly and the Yang parasite butterfly. At that time, the parasitized insect nests would become nutrients and give birth to a life form called Chaos Worm. Chaos worms only knew how to devour, and they would devour any life form. Ultimately, the entire Agon continent would be devoured by the overwhelming number of chaos worms and turned into scorched earth. If not for the sea separating the Agon continent from the other continents, this fifth calamity might even engulf the entire origin world. While Lin Yuan was training in the Divine Wood Federation, he had already treated the Agon continent as Sky City's backyard. Lin Yuan would not allow the Agon continent to be harmed by an insect-type Carcinoma Fey like the Yin Yang parasite butterfly. Lin Yuan looked at the auction list and saw that the Yin Yang parasite butterfly was priced at 12 million deep Brahmin coins. I want this insect-type Carcinoma Fey. The remaining money will be used as a deposit for the Weather Spirit Herb. President Li, please give me this insect-type Carcinoma Fey as soon as possible. End of this chapter. Chapter 1409. Li Yuan did not understand what had happened. However, Lin Yuan's tone and attitude had changed after seeing this insect-type carcinoma Fei. It wasn't strange for the Chamber of Commerce to auction insect-type carcinoma Feis. Basically, there would be an insect species carcinoma Fei appearing in every grand auction. Li Yuan originally wanted to continue building a relationship with Lin Yuan, but now was obviously not a good time to do so. In order to express her importance, Li Yuan had personally fetched the container that contained the Yang parasitic chaos butterflies. Lin Yuan took the 34 spirit plants that could change the weather and the container that contained the Yin parasitic chaos butterflies. He immediately left the flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Ji Feng had never heard of the Yin-Yang chaotic butterfly, but as Night-Leaning Moon's disciple, Lu Jie, who controlled the insect-type carcinoma Fei to fight, had never heard of the Yin-Yang chaotic butterfly. Its understanding of the Yin-Yang turmoil butterfly was even clearer than Lin Yuan's. Lu Jie knew that things were getting out of hand. Fortunately, the Yin parasite butterfly was still in Lin Yuan's hands. The Yin-Yang chaos butterflies are attracted to each other. As long as the Yin-Yang chaos butterfly is released, the Yin chaos butterfly would instinctively search for the Yang chaos butterfly. If the Yang parasite had already completed its parasitism, then the Yin parasite would be its primary target. He would become the host of the Yang parasitic butterfly. This was a secret that the spirit guards had discovered after studying the Yin-Yang disruption butterfly. Lu Jie hurriedly told this confidential information to Lin Yuan. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Lin Yuan, who had left the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce and arrived on the streets of Oak City, spoke to the young lady beside him in a serious tone. I have something important to do right now. If you're in a hurry to go home, leave me an address. You can go back first. I'll go find you as soon as I'm done with this. If you're not in a rush, you can stay by my side. When the young girl heard that, her round eyes immediately revealed a conflicted emotion. The girl thought of her brother's situation and wanted to go home to take care of him as soon as possible. However, the young girl was also afraid that Lin Yuan would disappear without a trace. The young girl felt a warmth from Lin Yuan that she had never felt before. The name of this kind of warmth is care. When the young lady recalled that she still had plenty of food left at home, she whispered to Lin Yuan. Big brother, you are busy. Little Flower will stay by Big Brother's side. When Big Brother is done, I'll go save Little Brother with Little Blossom. Upon hearing the young lady's words, Lin Yuan patted her shoulder. Then, with a grave expression, he broke the container in his hand that contained the Yin parasite butterfly. He released the demonic butterfly, which could be called the fifth natural disaster. This dark parasite butterfly was an Elite 4/Elite insect-type tumor Fei, and its flying speed was not fast. Lin Yuan sprinted at full speed and was basically able to catch up to the Yin parasite butterfly's speed in a short time. Under such circumstances, it was obviously inappropriate for him to summon Blackie. Even if Little Black tried its best to restrain its dragon power, its aura could still disturb the Yin butterfly. In order to escape from Little Black, it would be bad if the Yin butterfly didn't look for the Yang butterfly. Therefore, when Lin Yuan broke the container containing the Yin parasite butterflies, the Yin parasite butterfly's body trembled. Lu Jie let the insect queen inside the dimensional light moth spawn a total of 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths. The hurricane owlet moths formed a group of 5 and controlled the wind element to carry them into the air. He followed the flight path of the parasite butterfly in the air. In order not to disturb the Yin parasite butterfly, Lin Yuan and the others maintained a distance of 30 to 50 meters from it. However, even if Lin Yuan and the others did not disturb the Yin parasite butterfly, it did not mean that others would not. Along the way, many passers-by's gazes landed on Lin Yuan and the others. However, due to the spirit chi attire that Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng were wearing, no one dared to go forward and talk to them. Of course, there were some kind-hearted people who saw that Lin Yuan and the others were chasing after the Yin parasite butterfly but were unable to catch it. They wanted to go forward and help to capture the Yin parasite butterfly while also trying to get close to it. Fortunately, Lu Jie quickly let the insect queen produce a few more gold hurricane owlet moths to stop those people. Otherwise, if the parasite butterfly was startled and flew around, Lin Yuan would not be able to find its location. Oak City was a major city in the Divine Wood Federation, and many of the passers-by were of high status. Some of the passers-by were even creation masters. These creation masters immediately recognized the black gold butterfly flying in front of Lin Yuan and the others. It was an insect-type tumor fey. No matter what kind of insect-type tumor fey it was, it represented a huge amount of wealth. In the face of such wealth, no one would be polite. At such a crucial moment, Lin Yuan didn't have the time to be entangled with these people. As such, Lin Yuan summoned Genius from the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Genius, which was summoned by Lin Yuan, lay in Lin Yuan's embrace and meowed with a childish voice. During this period of time, Genius had been busy teaching the young 100 Questions Beasts and building the 100 Questions Beast Legion. In addition, it had to worry about the layout of the swamp world and the nurturing of some special phase. As a result, Genius hadn't been able to lie in Lin Yuan's embrace and act like a spoiled child for a period of time. Lin Yuan looked at the people who had summoned their fays and were preparing to capture the parasite butterfly and said to Genius, "Genius, if anyone or any fey wants to make a move on the parasite butterfly, give them a tail strike." After hearing Lin Yuan's words, Genius immediately let out a meow. Its childish voice was filled with seriousness. "Don't worry, Lin Yuan." After speaking, Genius's body lit up with a pure white halo. Genius's 8 fluffy tails instantly extended for close to 10 meters under the white halo. At this moment, each of Genius's tails could wrap around 3 adults tightly. Genius's tails swung continuously and struck every person who had summoned their fays and was preparing to make a move on the parasite butterfly. It didn't care about the identities of these people. Genius might not be adept at combat, but it was still a diamond/fantasy breed fey. As such, Genius's physical strength was even stronger than regular diamond combat class fays. With the sweep of Genius's tails, everywhere the parasite butterfly passed through was in a mess. There was a group of people lying on the ground in a disorderly manner, and they were just about to make a move on the parasite butterfly. Among them was a youth who was as fat as a ball. He was holding his back and cursing. "What is this? How dare you make a move on me? You really don't know how to spell the word death." When the man stood up, 2 young and beautiful ladies staggered to their feet. The 2 women endured the severe pain in their bodies and stepped forward to support the fat young man's arms from the left and right. "Young Master Lu, are you all right? We will give you a massage." As they spoke, the 2 ladies' hands gently pressed on the fat youth's back. As a result, the fat youth's injuries were affected. The fat youth cursed in pain and then gave 2 ruthless slaps on the 2 ladies' faces. Chapter 14:10. He slapped the 2 ladies to the ground. The faces of the 2 women who were beaten revealed a look of horror. For a moment, the 2 ladies didn't dare to stand up. When the others saw the situation, they quickly left. They could only hope that young Master Lu wouldn't vent his anger on them. Young Master Lu had black hair and black eyes, and he wasn't a native of the Divine Wood Federation. However, young Master Lu was someone that no one in Oak City dared to provoke. The Deep Frost Trade Association was backed by the Lu family. This fat youth might not be a direct descendant of the Lu family, but he was the study companion of the Lu family's young master. He was highly valued by the Lu family's young master. Even the vice president of the Deep Frost Trade Association's Oak City branch had to be courteous to this fat youth. Such a person wasn't someone that small fries like them could afford to provoke. The fat youth's eyes were filled with ferocity as he looked in the direction that Lin Yuan and the others had left. "The 2 of you, hurry up and get up to gather people. I want to see who has the guts to do this. He actually dared to hit me, Lu Kuan, for an insect-type carcinoma fey." The 2 ladies quickly got up and started to gather people according to the fat youth's instructions. In order to satisfy the fat youth, the 2 maidservants called Oak City's Deep Frost Trade Association's vice president, Song Dingjin. They asked Song Dingjin to send an expert from the Deep Frost Trade Association to help Lu Kuan. The request of the two women made Song Dingjin, who was on the other end of the phone, frown tightly. However, due to Lu Kuan's status, Song Dingjin still sent an expert from the Deep Frost Trade Association and a small team of guards. Song Dingjin couldn't help but let out a soft sigh after hanging up. She then fiddled with the dozens of walnuts in front of her. These object storage walnuts were only of bronze and silver normal quality. The only use of a walnut of this level and quality was to be used by caravans to carry goods. At this moment, a man wearing a black uniform beside Song Dingjin said, "Vice President, did young Master Lu cause trouble again? Vice President, did young Master Lu Kuan cause trouble again? Vice President, did young Master Lu cause trouble again?" The cooperation with the Li Origin Trade Association has been finalized. Lu Kuan is here to sign the cooperation agreement. After signing the agreement, Lu Kuan will leave Oak City in the next 2 days. Now that he has needs, I will satisfy them all. Correct answer, Lu Kuan. I'll be able to sit more securely in Oak City. Hearing Song Dingjin's words, the man in the black uniform couldn't help but twitch his mouth. It had only been a week since young Master Lu Kuan arrived at Oak City. But because of young Master Lu Kuan, more than 100 people had died. There were also many guests of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce among them. This would have a very bad effect on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Li Origin Chamber of Commerce, which cooperated with Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, had already voiced their opinions many times. However, when he thought about what Song Dingjin had done over the years, the man in the black uniform felt that Song Dingjin was no better than Lu Kuan. It might even be worse. Seeing that Song Dingjin was checking the contents of the walnuts, the man in black uniform asked, "Mr. Vice President, are we still going to keep these object-holding walnuts and get rid of that small caravan?" After saying that, the man made a throat-slitting gesture. Song Dingjin asked with great interest, "You said that the caravan was a low-ranked caravan called the Qingyi Caravan?" The man in black quickly replied, "This Qingyi Caravan is indeed the lowest-ranked caravan in our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. The entire caravan has close to 100 people, and only the captain has a gold fei. He runs the border between Oak City and the Iron Hammer Federation all year round. I don't know what kind of luck the Qingyi Caravan had this time. They actually managed to exchange so many things at the border of the Iron Hammer Federation. Although the best beast hide inside the object-holding walnuts is only silver, the quality of these beast hides is too good. There aren't any flaws at all. There are those ores, and many of them are quite expensive in the Iron Hammer Federation. I've estimated that it's worth around 1 million deep Brahmin coins. The Qingyi Caravan's captain brought these object-holding walnuts to me and wanted to exchange some fine wine and spirit herbs from the Chamber of Commerce. I think they are preparing to go to the Iron Hammer Federation to make a fortune. This caravan must have encountered some fortuitous encounter. The entire caravan is beaming with joy. According to the old rules, I will bring these things for you to take a look." A playful smile appeared on Song Dingjin's face when she heard this. He beaming with joy? Don't the Qingyi Caravan's people know that fortuitous encounters can change owners? Since it is a small caravan, just send them away as usual. I will give you 10% of the benefits inside. Go and do your work. Upon hearing Song Dingjin's words, the black-clothed man quickly bowed and replied, "Thank you for your appreciation, Vice President." Recently, there have been more and more caravans wanting to rely on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce can't handle so many caravans. Now that our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce has a cooperative relationship with the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce, do you want to introduce these caravan resources to the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce? The skinny Song Dingjin let out a cold snort. How can the caravan be full? Just pick some fat ones and digest them. Go, continue to promote our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. There will be 0 handling fees for the caravans that rely on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to exchange for resources. Each round trip will be given a subsidy of 2,000 metal coins. After speaking, Song Dingjin waved her hand. She then picked up the wine pot on the table, poured a cup of wine, and sipped it calmly. Lin Yuan had been following the dark parasite butterfly for about 15 minutes. Lin Yuan realized that it had flown to the edge of Oak City. The people living at the edge of Oak City were mostly ordinary people at the bottom of society and some refugees who had nowhere else to go. Order was very chaotic, and a series of vicious incidents would often occur. At that moment, the young girl beside Lin Yuan, who had flown into the sky for the first time with a face full of amazement, suddenly said, "That's right. Big brother, why did you fly to Little Flower's place? Xiaohua's house is just around the corner. Big brother, look, that fruit shop is selling rotten fruits that have been hoarded in the city for a few days. When Xiaohua and little brother are hungry, they will take a metal coin and go to the fruit shop to buy some fruit. Buy 5 pounds of rotten fruit. Cut off the rotten part, and there will still be 2 to 3 pounds left. It's very sweet." At the mention of food, Xiaohua's round eyes curved up. This smile was very pure, and it contained a longing for the future. There wasn't even a trace of pain. Upon seeing Xiaohua's innocent smile, Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Back in the Xia region, he had brought Chu Xi along to survive alone. He had never experienced such a bitter life. End of this chapter. Chapter 1411. After leaving the Radiance Federation, Lin Yuan had truly seen how the dark side of the main world was full of devastation. The next time he returned to the Radiance Federation, the Warm Sun Fund should be able to operate. Lin Yuan could help Xiaohua when he met her, but he could not help everyone in the abandoned city under his feet. Lin Yuan hoped that after the Warm Sun Fund operated, at least the Radiance Federation would not have such a situation again. A ray of warm sunlight shone on the dust-covered man. It should give the dusty people the courage to part with the clouds and see the light together. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to take out 2 spirit fruits from the diamond face storage box for Xiaohua to eat. However, Lu Jie had already taken out a string of gold and handed it to Xiaohua. When Xiaohua saw the gold, she was a little timid at first. However, after Lu Jie revealed a warm smile, Xiaohua was infected by his smile. After thanking Lu Jie, he took the gold tea from Lu Jie. Lin Yuan recalled that when he had first met Lu Jie, it was the darkest moment of Lu Jie's life. At that time, there was no light in Lu Jie's eyes. Even so, Lu Jie still supported many orphans. He even bought education funds for those orphans. Lu Jie should like children very much. Suddenly, Lin Yuan saw the parasite butterfly, which had been flying rapidly, slow down. The parasite butterfly folded its wings and landed like a withered leaf in a dilapidated straw house. Looking in the direction the parasite butterfly landed, Xiaohua exclaimed, "Big brother, that's Xiaohua's home." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan's pupils constricted. Could the target of the young parasite butterfly's host be Xiaohua's younger brother? If that was the case, it would explain why Xiaohua had gone to buy the inflammation-reducing grass. The host of the young parasite butterfly's insect nest would fester and become inflamed. This was in line with the inflammation-reducing grass's healing range. However, the inflammation-reducing grass was destined to not be able to heal the host of the young parasite butterfly. After the inflammation-reducing grass's medicinal properties stimulated the young parasite butterfly, it would cause it to go crazy. It would also accelerate the festering of the body. Xiaohua, who had not figured out the situation, saw Lin Yuan turn his head. He asked himself in an abnormally serious tone, "Xiaohua, when did you notice that your younger brother's body started to have inflammation?" Xiaohua thought for a while and said, 4 days ago, Xiaoqiao got a big bump on her arm. I took Xiaoqiao to ask Uncle Niu. Uncle Niu said that it was nothing and that it was just a boil. I believed Uncle Ox's words, so I took Xiaoqiao home. However, on the second day, Xiaoqiao's arm began to swell up and pus and blood slowly flowed out. At night, Xiaoqiao passed out. At that time, Xiaohua wanted to take out all his money to buy an inflammation-reducing grass. On the morning of the 3rd day, my little brother woke up, but after he woke up, he did not like to talk. Xiaohua was seriously recalling and telling Lin Yuan the contents of the memories. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie's expressions changed. It was almost certain that Xiaohua's younger brother, Xiaochao, was the host of the young parasitic butterfly. Xiaohua's younger brother, Xiaochao, had his memories and thoughts stolen by the young parasite butterfly on the second night. On the third day, when Xiaohua woke up, the person in front of him was no longer his younger brother, Xiaochao. Instead, it was the Yang chaos butterfly that could be called the fifth natural disaster. Fortunately, Xiaohua was not a male. Otherwise, on the morning of the third day, Little Blossom had already been parasitized by the young parasitic butterfly. As soon as the shady parasite butterfly entered the house, before Lin Yuan and the others could land on the ground, the shady parasite butterfly suddenly appeared. The tightly shut door of the hut was suddenly opened from the inside. A 6 or 7-year-old boy ran out of the room. On the little boy's left shoulder was a black gold butterfly flapping its wings. This black and gold butterfly was the parasite butterfly that had just landed in the room. Xiaohua saw the little boy and quickly called out, "Xiaochao, when older sister left, didn't I tell you not to leave the room? Why did you come out? Go back quickly." Big sister found a big brother who is a healer. He can help you heal the wounds on your body. As Xiaohua spoke, he prepared to run over and hug the little boy. At that moment, the butterfly on the little boy's fingertip flew towards Xiaohua like a sharp sword. Before the black and gold parasite butterfly could get close to Little Flower's body suddenly exploded. The 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths that had brought them here had already stirred up a gale and formed a wind prison. They controlled the parasite butterfly, which was only at the elite grade. Seeing that the parasite butterfly was being controlled, the little boy's face revealed a fierce expression. He quickly strode toward Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng. At such a time, Lin Yuan and the others naturally could not let the little boy get close to them. Once the little boy got close, Lin Yuan and the others would not be able to escape the fate of being parasitized by the young parasite butterfly. Lin Yuan stood there quietly, and a quicksand whirlpool appeared under the little boy's feet. The little boy's legs immediately sank into the quicksand whirlpool. Then, a pair of palms formed from yellow sand appeared in the quicksand whirlpool. The palm formed by the yellow sand held the young man firmly in its palm. The close guard sand then boiled and formed a sand mist. It prevented the little boy from using some special means to get close to Lin Yuan and the others. If the parasite butterfly wanted to increase its grade, it could absorb spirit qi in the natural world. The other method was through parasitizing hosts. The more hosts it parasitized, the higher the parasite butterfly's grade and quality. At present, this young parasite butterfly had just finished parasitizing and only controlled the little boy. Its strength was the same as the parasite butterflies, both were elite. It could not break the sand prison formed by the source sand. Little Blossom was stunned by the sudden change in the situation. It looked at its little brother, who was held in the palm of yellow sand, and then at its big brother, who had just given it delicious spirit fruits and wanted to treat its little brother. The little flower instinctively pulled away from Lin Yuan and Lu Jie, wanting to run to its little brother's side to protect him. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan hurriedly pulled the little flower back. He explained the current situation clearly to the little flower. After understanding the situation, the little flower's lips were still tightly pursed. It stared straight at the little boy. Lin Yuan's heart was now abnormally conflicted. The easiest way to make the young parasitic butterfly appear was to destroy its nest. However, Lin Yuan was not willing to do so. This pair of siblings had too many of his and Chu Si's shadows. Lin Yuan had thought more than once that if Chu Si had been parasitized by the parasite butterfly a few years ago, what would he have done? Even if he had to become enemies with the whole world, he would not have let anyone hurt Chu Si. Even if Chu Si had been parasitized by the parasite butterfly and become the source of a natural disaster, at this moment, the little flower's thoughts were probably the same as his. End of this chapter. Chapter 14:12. Lin Yuan lowered his head and looked into Xiaohua's eyes. He could see the stubbornness in them. When he thought about how the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitized its host, Lin Yuan turned to Lu Jie. Big Brother Lu, your insect queen can control insect-type carcinoma phase. Do you have a way to let the insect queen suppress the yin-yang chaos butterfly? I just need half an hour. Upon hearing this, Lu Jie immediately communicated with the insect queen. After some communication, Lu Jie said, the insect queen can suppress the insect-type carcinoma phase. The yin-yang chaos butterfly will steal the host's thoughts and memories, which is the same as absorbing the host's spiritual energy. After the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitizes its host, it will steal the host's thoughts and memories, which is the same as absorbing the host's spiritual energy. If the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitizes 2 children, I will use the rainbow angelfish's fish coat to replenish it. It should be able to hold on for half an hour. Based on Lin Yuan's question, Lu Jie had already guessed Lin Yuan's plan. However, this method was too risky. However, it was undeniable that this was undoubtedly the best ending for the little girl and the little boy. After hearing Lu Jie's affirmative answer, Lin Yuan asked Ji Feng, Ji Feng, can your water lotus plant a soul seed in the soul and ensure that it can repair the soul when cracks appear repeatedly? I just need half an hour. Ji Feng replied confidently. If it's against these 2 children, I don't even need to summon the water lotus back. I can just use the soul seed. 1 soul seed is enough for these 2 children's souls to last for a day, let alone half an hour. Upon hearing Ji Feng's statement, Lin Yuan nodded. If the insect queen could guarantee that it could suppress the yin-yang chaos butterfly, Ji Feng could guarantee that Xiao Hua and Xiao Hua's souls would not dissipate. Lin Yuan was also confident that he could use the jasmine lily's heel and severed limbs while the yin-yang chaos butterfly was wreaking havoc on Xiao Hua and Xiao Hua's bodies. Even if their bodies were constantly destroyed, they would still be able to regenerate according to their genetic model. These 3 prerequisites were the foundation of what Lin Yuan was going to do next. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua, who was pursing her lips and saying nothing. I know that in your world, your little brother is the only one. But your little brother is currently being controlled by an insect-type carcinoma Fey. Even if I have a way to extract that insect-type carcinoma Fey from your little brother's body, I will not be able to do so. The instant that insect-type carcinoma Fey leaves your little brother's body will be the moment he dies. Every time Lin Yuan said a word, Xiao Hua's eyes dimmed a little. Suddenly, Lin Yuan changed the topic. But it's not like there's no way at all. It's just that this method requires you to bear the risk. If this method succeeds, you and your brother will survive. But if this method fails, both you and your brother will die. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiao Hua grabbed Lin Yuan's sleeve and begged while shaking it. Big brother, little flower is willing. Please save Xiao Chao. Hearing Xiao Hua's words, the 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths that trapped the Yin parasite butterflies suddenly dispersed. The Yin parasite butterfly that was out of control went straight into Xiao Hua's body from the back of his neck. Xiao Hua, who had just been parasitized by the Yin parasite butterfly, was still conscious. At that moment, a quicksand vortex appeared under Xiao Hua's feet. Xiao Hua was also grabbed by a palm made of sand. Lin Yuan instructed Xiao Hua. Your little brother will wake up in a while. If you can endure the pain in your soul, you can try to encourage your little brother. After speaking, Lin Yuan nodded at Lu Jie and Ji Feng. Lu Jie snapped his fingers, and a fairy with long dark purple hair, dark green insect armor, and 2 pairs of dragonfly-like wings flew out of the dimensional light moth's body. This fairy was the insect queen. After fusing with the blade queen bee's spiritual toxin, the mutated insect queen looked very different from before. However, even though the insect queen was wearing an insect armor, it was still very shy and afraid of meeting strangers. The insect queen's personality was really hard to imagine. It was a war machine that could casually produce insect swarms. Lu Jie spoke to the insect queen in a serious tone. Insect queen, try your best to suppress the yin-yang parasite butterfly in these 2 children's bodies. Use the spiritual toxin to reduce the yin-yang parasite butterfly's mobility. Hearing Lu Jie's order, the insect queen flapped its wings and flew toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. The insect queen extended its left hand toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. At this moment, The insect queen's left index finger suddenly turned dark purple. The insect queen poked this dark purple finger into Xiao Hua's neck and Xiao Chao's right arm. Then, the insect queen's eyes turned silver. A wave of spiritual energy with a special rhythm rushed toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. This wave of spiritual energy did not target Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies were like a filter, and the spiritual energy flowed into their bodies like water. It triggered the spiritual toxin that the insect queen injected into Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies. They pounced towards the yin and yang butterflies that were hiding in Little Flower and Little Grass's bodies. It tried its best to suppress the yin-yang parasite butterfly and Xiao Chao. However, the insect queen's suppression also caused the yin-yang parasite butterfly to fiercely resist. Especially the yin-yang parasite butterfly that had just entered Xiao Hua's body, it was the first to be caught by the insect queen's spiritual energy. Xiao Hua's body in the giant yellow sand palm began to tremble like a sieve. The lump on Xiao Hua's neck spread in Xiao Hua's body. Many ulcers quickly appeared on Xiao Hua's body, and pus and blood kept flowing out of the ulcers. This was the yin-yang parasite butterfly's action to resist the insect queen's suppression and quickly transform Xiao Hua's body into an insect nest. However, under the insect queen's suppression, the yin-yang parasite butterfly's movements became slower and slower. Ji Feng saw the right time and planted a water lily soul seed in Little Flower's soul. It nourished Little Flower's soul. There was still no movement on Xiao Chao's side. This meant that the insect queen had not found the yin-yang parasite butterfly hidden in Xiao Chao's body. Xiao Chao's body had been transformed into an insect nest, and it wanted to capture the yin-yang parasite butterfly in the insect nest. It needed some time and patience. As the yin-yang parasite butterfly had just entered Xiao Hua's body, everything was still under control. However, it was difficult for Xiao Chao. In the insect nest, the yin-yang parasite butterfly that stole Xiao Chao's spiritual energy was enough to fight against the insect queen's spiritual energy. Even with the help of the insect queen's spiritual toxin, it needed some time to fight. Lin Yuan summoned the jasmine lily and let the bud of mountain jade on the head of the jasmine lily's crystal-like main flower use its ability to heal Xiao Chao. Upon receiving Lin Yuan's command, the bud of mountain jade on the crystal-like main flower bloomed. A green pillar of light shot out from the bud of mountain jade and landed on Xiao Chao's body. It formed a link that transmitted vitality. Chapter 14:13. The wounds and pustules on Xiao Chao's body rapidly recovered under the jasmine lily's healing. At that moment, the insect queen's spiritual energy grabbed the yang parasite butterfly. The yang parasite butterfly started to wreak havoc in Xiao Chao's body. The eggs produced by the yang parasite butterfly broke open in large numbers and turned into yang parasite worms. These yang parasite worms were the reason why the yang parasite butterfly was able to infect other male targets. A large number of yang parasite worms drilled into Xiao Chao's skin, causing widespread infection and ulceration. However, as soon as the wounds appeared, they were immediately healed by the bud of mountain jade. The yang parasite worms had drilled into Xiao Chao's organs more than once. The vitality released by the bud of mountain jade triggered Xiao Chao's genetic model through its exclusive skill, severance. It allowed Xiao Chao's organs to rapidly regenerate. During this cycle, the yang parasite butterfly was affected by the insect queen's spiritual toxin, and its spiritual energy was gradually suppressed. Only then was Xiao Chao's consciousness released. The moment Xiao Chao regained her consciousness, Ji Feng planted a soul seed in her. Ji Feng could only use the soul seed on Xiao Chao when she regained her consciousness. Otherwise, the soul seed would be planted on the yang parasite butterfly's soul. Once the soul seed was given, it could not be retrieved before the energy was depleted. Ji Feng would not allow his mistake to affect the rescue mission. After Xiao Chao regained her senses, she burst into tears. The pain of her body being damaged and repaired had already injured her soul. It was all thanks to the nourishment of this soul seed. Otherwise, Xiao Chao, who had just regained consciousness, would have immediately fainted. Xiao Chao, whose soul was being repaired by the soul seed, saw Xiaohua at the side and stretched out her trembling hand. It was as though she had seen a baby swallow that she could rely on. Xiaohua, who Xiaochao relied on, was just a 13 or 14-year-old girl. When Xiaohua saw that Xiaochao had regained consciousness, it endured the pain and wanted to explain the situation to Xiaochao. Whether it was Xiaochao or Xiaohua, they were about to enter the most dangerous moment. This was the young parasite butterfly's dying counterattack. Xiaohua did not have enough time to explain the situation to Xiaochao, but Lin Yuan was already prepared. He said to Genius, "Genius, use the interconnected tail. Use the interconnected tail." When Genius heard Lin Yuan, it waved its tail, and it immediately turned into a lustrous white illusory link. The silvery white illusory link separated itself from Genius' body and connected the grass and flower. The thoughts and memories of Little Blossom and Little Grass were instantly connected. Just as Xiaochao and Xiaohua let out a miserable shriek, Lin Yuan quickly got Genius to withdraw from the interconnected tails. He used the interconnecting tail to connect Xiaochao and Xiaohua. Although the two of them could encourage each other through the interconnecting tail, however, the two of them could also feel each other's pain through the tail of connection. The pain was unbearable. The stimulation brought by the two types of pain was something the souls of two young children could not bear. Once the damage to his soul was too great, even the soul seed released by a peak emperor stage expert like Ji Feng would be of no help. The Yin parasite butterflies and Yang parasite butterflies were making their final struggle under the insect queen's suppression. The psychic toxin made the Yang and Yin chaos butterflies feel the aura of death. In the final struggle of their lives, Xiaochao and Xiaohua's bodies broke down one after another. It actually made the jasmine lily feel a little pressured. This was because the yin-yang chaos worms in Xiaohua and Xiaochao's bodies had hatched in the tens of thousands. As soon as the jasmine lily stopped its treatment, Xiaohua and Xiaochao would instantly explode like balloons. To be safe, Ji Feng released another soul seed for Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls. As time passed, Lu Jie's expression became more and more pained. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. Normally, the insect queen could easily suppress one insect-type carcinoma Fei at a time. Lu Jie had never tried to suppress two insect-type carcinoma Feis at the same time. Although these two insect-type carcinoma Feis came from the same source, they still had two sets of spiritual energy and soul. Furthermore, one of the insect-type carcinoma Feis had stolen the spiritual energy of a 6-year-old child. Lu Jie took out dozens of fish coats from the diamond Fei storage box and distributed them to the insect queen. He kept 2 or 3 fish coats for himself and quickly ate them. Through the digestion of the fish coats, he replenished his spiritual energy. Just as he felt that the yin-yang chaos butterflies in Xiaohua and Xiaochao's bodies were about to lose their lives, the two yin-yang chaos butterflies condensed their soul power and collided with Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls. Lin Yuan originally thought that the two soul powers would only affect Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls. Then they would be healed by the two soul seeds. However, what surprised Lin Yuan was that these two soul shocks had penetrated into Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls. A portion of the soul powers then slowly fused with Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls. The moment the soul fusion was completed, the yin-yang chaos butterflies' souls were immediately healed by the soul seeds. At the same time, the yin-yang chaos butterflies no longer destroyed Xiaohua and Xiaochao's bodies. After the yin-yang chaos butterflies destroyed the previously produced yin-yang chaos worms, they emerged from Xiaohua and Xiaochao's bodies. Due to the insect queen's attacks, the two elite yin-yang chaos butterflies didn't dare to fly. They nested on Xiaohua and Xiaochao's bodies and flapped their wings in fear. This change stunned Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng. A guess appeared in the minds of Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng. Could the yin-yang chaos butterflies' souls have fused with Xiaohua and Xiaochao's souls? Did they become Xiaohua and Xiaochao's Feis? Soon, Lin Yuan and the other two's guess was confirmed. When Xiaohua and Xiaochao recovered and opened their eyes, the two yin-yang chaos butterflies flapped their wings and danced around Xiaohua and Xiaochao, emitting an instinctive intimacy. Xiaohua and Xiaochao also fused with a portion of the yin-yang chaos butterflies' souls. They had an instinctive affection for these two yin-yang chaos butterflies that had just hurt them. Lin Yuan's giant palm that was holding Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao slowly turned into quicksand and let Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao land on the ground. Xiao Hua landed on the ground and immediately flew toward Xiao Chao. She hugged Xiao Chao tightly in her arms. Xiao Chao stretched out her arms toward Xiao Hua, looking forward to Xiao Hua's hug. However, as soon as Xiao Chao was in Xiao Hua's arms, she immediately let out a cry and groaned in pain. Xiao Hua quickly took off her hemp clothes and hugged Xiao Chao again. Then she hugged Xiao Chao again. To Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao, everything that had just happened was like a new lease of life. Xiao Hua hugged Xiao Chao for a full 3 minutes before he suddenly remembered something. He hastily pulled Xiao Chao to her feet and brought her before Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng as he spoke gratefully. "Thank you, big brother, for saving Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Thank you, big brother." End of this chapter. Chapter 14:14. Xiao Chao also mimicked Xiao Hua's behavior and said gratefully, "Thank you, big brothers." While thanking them, Xiao Hua suddenly had a thought. Compared to continuing to live here, it would be great if it could stay by Big Brother's side. However, thinking of its situation and identity, Xiao Hua could not say such words. Xiao Hua was afraid that it would be rejected if it said it. At that moment, Xiao Hua saw the Big Brother in front of her smile that made people feel especially warm. He placed his palms on the top of his and Xiao Cao's heads and gently rubbed them. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Cao's clothes that were so tattered that they could not cover their bodies. He wanted to get 2 sets of spirit chi clothes for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to change into. However, no matter how many spirit chi clothes there were in Lin Yuan's diamond face storage box, there were no children's clothes. Lin Yuan took out a platinum blue brocade fox's skin and 2 bolts of silk satin. He sewed them simply. Lin Yuan, who had helped Chu Ci survive, still knew some simple needlework. Lin Yuan and Chu Ci did not have many clothes in total. Due to the circumstances of life, even if the clothes were broken, they did not have the money to buy new ones. Lin Yuan could only sew and patch them up before putting them on. In a moment, Lin Yuan made 2 sets of small white clothes. Lin Yuan split the platinum blue brocade fox's skin into 2 and simply sewed it into 2 fox fur cloaks. As the first young master of the Whale Ocean Trading Company, Ji Feng knew nothing about needlework. However, Lu Jie squatted down and joined in with ease. He took the 2 sets of spirit chi clothes that Lin Yuan had just sewn and changed the coarse-looking needle corners. In a short while, the 2 sets of spirit chi clothes became exquisite under Lu Jie's modification. Lin Yuan looked at Lu Jie, who was sewing clothes. He did not expect Lu Jie to do other than cooking. He was also so talented in this area. Without Wen Yu, Lu Jie would probably be the housekeeper of return from faraway mansion. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao were not stupid. They sewed the clothes according to the size of Lin Yuan and Lu Jie's clothes. They easily guessed that these 2 sets of spirit chi clothes were sewn for them. Xiao Chao was still fine, as she had been carefully taken care of by Xiao Hua. There was always a harbor to rely on even if one suffered. However, for as long as Xiao Hua could remember, he was beaten up by his alcoholic father. He has been responsible for all the work of the family since he was a child. He had to think of a way to find wine for his father. After that, his father went out and never came back. To Xiao Hua, it was a kind of relief. Now that there was one less person to eat at home, Xiao Hua brought her little brother to eat even more than before. Hence, Xiao Hua had never experienced what it felt like to be cared for by others. Little Flower had never received any clothes made for him before. Moreover, these 2 big brothers were the materials to make clothes. It was even better than the clothes of the noble ladies and young masters in the city center. This caused Xiao Hua to feel terrified. If it was possible, Xiao Hua would rather not have this set of clothes. Instead, she chose to live a hard life with her younger brother by her big brother's side. Xiao Hua was afraid that she and her brother would be left here after obtaining the 2 sets of spirit chi clothing. While Lin Yuan was creating the spirit chi clothing, he had been observing the 2 yin-yang chaotic butterflies. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao ignored the 2 yin-yang chaotic butterflies, but the two yin-yang chaotic butterflies kept landing on them. Lin Yuan asked as he handed one set of clothes to Xiao Hua and the other to Xiao Chao. Can the two of you control these two butterflies? Xiao Hua turned around and looked at the black gold yin-yang chaotic butterflies. Big brother, Xiao Hua can control this black gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly. He can do anything. Xiao Chao nodded and looked at the white gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly on her fingertip. This white gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly is also very obedient to Xiao Chao. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao with a complicated gaze. Lu Jie's insect queen could control insect-type carcinoma phase because of an unexpected mutation. It was an ability that couldn't be replicated. Lin Yuan didn't dare to say that the water lily's ability, soul seed, and his jasmine lily's exclusive skill were unique. However, Lin Yuan had never met anyone else with such an ability. It could be said that the combination of these three unique abilities created a miracle. It created a fifth calamity switch that had thoughts and flesh. As long as Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao willed it, the calamity would descend. What was more terrifying was that Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao could blend into the crowd and become the perfect protective umbrella for the yin-yang chaotic butterfly. The spirit guards classified the fifth calamity phase as a fifth calamity, and they didn't just affect the origin world. There were also male and female life forms in the dimensional world. When Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao arrived in the dimensional world, they could still bring about a calamity that belonged to the origin world but was transferred to the dimensional world. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao could now be defined as a pair of destructive strategic weapons. In such a situation, Lin Yuan had to instill the correct outlook on life and values into Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's conflicted expression as they held the spirit chi clothes. My clothes and this big brother's clothes are slightly inferior. If you want to stay by my side, there will be a big sister who will make clothes for you in the future. The clothes that big brother and I are wearing are made by that big sister. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiao Hua looked up at him. The expression on her face perfectly portrayed the process of a flower budding to blossoming. At this moment, the surprise in the girl's eyes seemed to have suddenly lit up the world. Xiao Hua said as she held Xiao Chao's hand. Xiao Hua is willing to bring Xiao Chao to stay by Big Brother's side, but Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao are dirty. If we wear Big Brother's clothes, we will dirty Big Brother's clothes. Lin Yuan could use Bai Lan to wash Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. However, it was obviously not appropriate to do so. Lin Yuan stretched out his hand and ruffled Xiao Hua's hair. Don't worry, put them on first. Don't worry if they get dirty. When we go back, I will make a clean one for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiao Hua happily brought Xiao Chao back to the straw hut to change their clothes. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao had just finished changing their clothes. Although there was still a lot of dirt on their faces, they looked much better than before. At the very least, they were no longer in a sorry state. Lin Yuan took out 2 towels and poured some water for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to wipe them. After wiping them, Lin Yuan realized that Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao looked very good. In their big eyes, there was a quick-wittedness that couldn't be hidden. However, there were more or less some scars on their bodies. These were the scars left by a difficult life. I wish everyone a happy New Year's Eve. Hee hee, the earliest blessing. End of this chapter. Chapter 14-15. However, these scars and the calluses on Xiao Hua's hands were not impossible to remove. Just half a bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar would do. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao did not have the talent to become spirit chi professionals and were just ordinary people. Being able to contract the yin-yang chaotic butterfly was just a miracle caused by a combination of factors. Therefore, neither of them had a spiritual space. Lin Yuan gave Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao a pendant-shaped diamond fey storage box each. It hung on Flowery and Xiao Cao's necks. He then asked Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to store the yin-yang chaotic butterfly into their respective diamond fey storage boxes. Just as Lin Yuan was about to leave with Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao, an arrogant and ear-piercing voice echoed nearby. It's you bastards who beat me, Lu Kuan. You? Yes, I'm talking to you. Hand over the cat with 8 tails in your arms. I, Lu Kuan, might be able to let you die with dignity. However, these scars and the calluses on Xiaohua's hands were not impossible to remove. Just half a bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar would do. Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao did not have the talent to become spirit qi professionals and were just ordinary people. Being able to contract the yin-yang chaotic butterfly was just a miracle caused by a combination of factors. Therefore, neither of them had a spiritual space. Lin Yuan gave Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao a pendant-shaped diamond fei storage box each. It hung on Flowery and Xiaocao's necks. He then asked Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao to store the yin-yang chaotic butterfly into their respective diamond fei storage boxes. Just as Lin Yuan was about to leave with Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao, suddenly, a group of spirit qi professionals in black uniforms ran over. When these spirit qi professionals saw Lin Yuan and the others, they immediately summoned their feis. Xiaohua's thatched hut was at the edge of the abandoned city, and there were no houses further away. Therefore, this group of people must have come here for them. At first, Lin Yuan thought these people were members of the bandits. However, when he saw their feis, it was obvious that they were not as simple as the bandits. Gold 7/flawless saber-toothed fierce cat. Platinum I/flawless poison powder calamus. Platinum 2/flawless dark corrosion ghost face fly. This kind of fey equipment was obviously not something that a member of the bandits could possess. This small group of feis had the ability to destroy the entire Nanma city. In Oak City, these people could be called elites. Lin Yuan was rather curious about their identities. Could it be that these people were here for the Yin parasite butterfly? Carcinoma feis weren't taboo in the Divine Wood Federation, and an elite insect species Carcinoma fei wouldn't be able to attract so many experts. Or did someone recognize the Yin parasite butterfly? In this regard, Lin Yuan felt that it was unlikely. The Divine Wood Federation did not have a star network, so its knowledge reserves were worrying. The Radiance Federation's Class 2 and Class 3 Creation Masters had the ability to concoct all the Class 2 and Class 3 spirit liquids. However, the Divine Wood Federation's Class 2 and Class 3 Creation Masters had limited knowledge. As for the 2-star and 3-star spiritual liquids that he had concocted, only he knew the formulas for them. Although the Divine Wood Federation and the Radiance Federation's Creation Masters' abilities were comparable, their standards could not be compared at all. Even the president of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce couldn't recognize the Yin parasite butterfly. It was even more impossible for a passerby to recognize the gloomy parasite when they saw it on the streets. If someone really recognized the Yin parasite butterfly, they would have to face this calamity class insect species Carcinoma fei. The Class 4 Creation Master clans that didn't report to Oak City's main affairs would send out their strongest experts. It was truly a child's play. Upon seeing these people, Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao instinctively curled up their bodies. Upon seeing the situation, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie pulled Xiaohua and Xiaoqiao over. They blocked the two of them behind them. Lu Jie asked Lin Yuan, what should we do with these people? Lin Yuan shook his head at Lu Jie. Lin Yuan planned to observe quietly and see what exactly these people were here for. After seeing Lin Yuan shake his head, Lu Jie didn't let the insect queen return to the dimensional light moth's stomach to produce a large batch of flesh-mincing blade insects. Upon seeing Lin Yuan shake his head, Lu Jie did not let the insect queen return to the dimensional light moth's belly and produce a large number of flesh-mincing blade insects. Ji Feng stepped forward and stood in front of Lu Jie and Lin Yuan. At that moment, a total of 40 spirit qi professionals wearing black uniforms suddenly spread out to both sides. At that moment, a total of 40 spirit qi professionals wearing black uniforms suddenly spread out to both sides. Lin Yuan saw an open-air carriage that was pulled by 4 platinum patrol wildebeests. Lin Yuan saw an open-air carriage pulled by 4 platinum patrol wildebeests, and a fat man was sitting on it. The fatty was looking at Lin Yuan with resentment. There were 2 young and beautiful ladies sitting on each side of the fatty. The 2 women each held a tray in their hands. One of the trays had a wine flask and wine cups, while the other had roasted meat and spirit fruits. They were waiting for the fatty to use them. Lin Yuan revealed a doubtful expression. He didn't have any impression of this fatty. Just as Lin Yuan was pondering, An arrogant and ear-piercing voice echoed from the fatty's mouth. "It's you bastards who beat me, Lu Kuan." "You? Yes, I'm talking to you. Hand over the cat with 8 tails in your arms." "I, Lu Kuan, might be able to let you die with dignity." Upon hearing the fatty's words, Lin Yuan immediately knew that this fatty must have been on the street. He had wanted to capture the parasite butterfly but had been hit by Genius Tail. This fatty had spent so much effort to come here, and it was obvious that he was trying to get back at them. Furthermore, from the fatty's words, he wanted to snatch Genius away. Then he would kill all of them. When the fatty saw that Lin Yuan didn't reply immediately, he thought that Lin Yuan was afraid. He spoke with an even more arrogant tone. "But, are you afraid? It's useless to be afraid. If you dare to beat me, Lu Kuan, will go to hell." As Lu Kuan spoke, the old man standing beside him had an incredulous look on his face. The elder could sense that the 8-tailed white cat in the black-clothed youth's arms was actually a diamond/fantasy breed fae. What kind of behavior is this? How could he bring a diamond/fantasy breed pet with him? Lu Kuan had probably kicked an iron plate. Fortunately, he was a pinnacle king-class expert, and his main fae, the ancient tree dragon centipede, could easily kill this 8-tailed cat that had just become a diamond/fantasy breed. However, was this 8-tailed white cat really the strongest among the black-clothed youth's group? Lin Yuan looked at the arrogant Lu Kuan and asked in a calm tone. "Those who want to kill will always be killed. I believe you understand this logic." When Lu Kuan heard Lin Yuan's words, his expression became even more arrogant. It also made the elder's heart tremble. This black-clothed youth was simply too calm. It wasn't just this black-clothed youth. Even the youth and the middle-aged man beside him didn't put Lu Kuan's group in their eyes. Just as the elder was about to remind Lu Kuan was already cursing at Lin Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 1416. Your Grandpa Lu is a member of the Lu family. The entire Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce is the property of the Lu family. In Oak City, your Grandpa Lu can cover the sky with one hand. If I, your Grandpa Lu, want to kill you, no one can save you. Lu Kuan addressed Lin Yuan as Grandpa Lu 3 times in a row, and it made Lin Yuan rather annoyed. In Lu Kuan's eyes, he had already regarded them as dead people. Lin Yuan turned his head and said to Ji Feng, who was beside him, "Ji Feng, I'll leave it to you. With Little Blossom and Little Grass here, the scene will be cleaner." Ji Feng nodded and summoned the Karma Sword Orchid with a wave of his hand. Lu Kuan's group saw a white-haired man appear out of thin air. The white-haired man's eyes were gray, and his pupils were black and white. The white-haired man's appearance was clearly not that of a normal human. A guess appeared in the heart of the old man beside Lu Kuan, and the old man could not help but exclaim, "Young Master Lu Kuan, this is a myth too fey. There is an Emperor Realm Master among them." As soon as the old man finished speaking, he heard a cold snort. "You are wrong. You don't even have the eyesight to see that I am a plant species fey. How foolish." As the Karma Sword Orchid swung its sword, a sword rain formed by the interweaving power of karma swept through the entire world. A moment later, the rain of swords dissipated. It was as if the group of people that had come to find trouble had never appeared in front of him. It was as if he had never heard of Lu Kuan before. Under the sword rain of the Karma Sword Orchid, everything was reduced to dust, including the treacherous ground. After the Karma Sword Orchid was done, it came to Lin Yuan's side and bowed. "Sir, according to your orders, it's already clean enough." Lin Yuan had helped the Karma Sword Orchid break through to Myth 3. Thus, the Karma Sword Orchid respected Lin Yuan very much. The Karma Sword Orchid was a support-type fae, and it wouldn't have any chance to fight normally. The Karma Sword Orchid finally experienced the thrill of battle when it faced an enemy that was more than a rank weaker than it. The Karma Sword Lily thought to itself, "If Ling Lian was here right now, she would probably worship me." Lu Kuan had just revealed that he was from the Lu family. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce was also the property of the Lu family. Then this Lu family should be a hidden noble family of the Deep Brahmin Federation. However, based on Lu Kuan's style and attire, Lin Yuan could not see any noble demeanor. It seemed that Lu Kuan was not a direct descendant of the Lu family. It could be said that Lu Kuan's death had caused a feud between Lin Yuan and the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. The group beside Lu Kuan and the Peak King Stage Elder hadn't been with Lu Kuan when they had been on the street. Otherwise, when Lu Kuan was being attacked by Genius, the old man at the peak of the king stage would definitely intervene. That pinnacle king-class expert and these black-uniformed spirit chi professionals must be the people of Oak City's Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. If these people did not return after so long, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce would soon notice that something was wrong. Previously, he had planned to establish a relationship with the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce through the Sincere E-Caravan. As they invested in the Sincerity Caravan, the Sincerity Caravan's status in the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce rose bit by bit. It would be convenient for him to exchange for resources from the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce in the future. As long as he did not have any contact with the Sincere E-Caravan on the surface, it would not affect the Sincere E-Caravan. However, Lu Kuan's actions and the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's members seeking revenge had allowed Lin Yuan to see the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's evil roots. This allowed Lin Yuan to see the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's bad roots and feel that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce was not a good partner. Lin Yuan planned to give the Sincerity Caravan's Mr. Zhao a call. He wanted to see if Mr. Zhao had brought the Sincerity Caravan to Oak City. At that moment, in the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's Treehouse Hotel, Mr. Zhao was holding a baby with a gloomy face and letting the baby grab his beard. He did not tell the baby the story of the big tiger as usual. The middle-aged man beside Mr. Zhao asked with a frown, "Dad, our caravan's object holding walnuts with resources have been taken away by the steward. There has been no response even after 1.5 days. Could there be a problem?" Caravans had always been a business where blood flowed from the edge. After a few caravan trips, they would inevitably encounter attacks from the bandits. Therefore, there were no naive people in the caravan. Mr. Zhao had long realized that something was wrong. Mr. Zhao took a deep breath and looked at the middle-aged man beside him. "Jiaji, help me hold Dao to first. Let's go downstairs and ask all the caravan members to gather outside the treehouse. Let's go find the steward and ask if our resources have been exchanged for wine and spirit herbs." Although the old man said so, he increasingly felt that something was wrong. Under normal circumstances, the steward should have finished counting the Sincerity Caravan's resources within 1 to 2 hours. Then he would have prepared all the resources that the Sincerity Caravan had requested. It would not have taken more than a day. There were many caravans that were stronger than the Sincerity Caravan in the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. However, no matter how many resources these caravans had, it would take at least 1 to 2 hours, and at most 3 to 4 hours to complete the exchange. He thought of the person in the cloak who usually did not speak. Only then did Mr. Zhao feel a trace of calmness in his heart. Mr. Zhao still remembered that Lin Yuan had said that this person could guarantee the Sincerity Caravan's safety. When the Sincerity Caravan members gathered under the treehouse, Mr. Zhao deliberately walked to the figure in the cloak and carefully explained the situation to the figure. However, Mr. Zhao did not get any response at all. If this figure was not able to move, Mr. Zhao would have almost thought that this figure was a fake person. As early as a few months ago, news had spread in Oak City that many caravans backed by the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce had disappeared without a trace. However, this was just a rumor. Mr. Zhao did not care much about this. Now that he thought about it, those missing caravans seemed to have made a fortune before they disappeared. Thinking of this, Mr. Zhao felt a chill in his heart. It made Mr. Zhao shiver involuntarily. However, Mr. Zhao obviously could not say this to the other members of the Sincerity Caravan. This was because it would only cause chaos in the caravan. It would not solve any problems. If he took this thought seriously and ran away, it would be the same as wasting all the resources that Lin Yuan had given to the Sincerity Caravan. Lin Yuan was the Sincerity Caravan's benefactor, and he had given it hope and the capital to rise. No matter what, Mr. Zhao did not want to let Lin Yuan down. Mr. Zhao forced himself to calm down and led the 100 members of the Sincerity Caravan to the entrance of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. As a result, Mr. Zhao realized that the attendants guarding the entrance of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce did not stop them like usual. End of this chapter. Chapter 14-17. They told him that only 2 members could enter at most to handle the business. Now, these 2 attendants actually allowed everyone from the sincere caravan to enter. Mr. Zhao suddenly felt something was wrong. He felt that his guess just now was very likely to be the truth of the matter. Mr. Zhao brought the sincere caravan members to the manager's office room with apprehension. In the end, the person in the room told him that the manager wasn't here. The staff in the manager's office led the sincere caravan members to the 8th floor of the tree fortress. They walked toward the innermost corridor of the 8th floor. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's 8th floor didn't have any goods displayed. Mr. Zhao had never come up here before. Along the way, Mr. Zhao realized that there wasn't a single person inside. The surrounding walls were pasted with iron plates, and the iron plates were embedded with a layer of sound isolation gold. This didn't look like a place where the manager would come to work. Just as Mr. Zhao was about to stop the sincere caravan members and ask for an explanation, the attendant leading the way released a dark green toad with lumps all over its body. The appearance of this dark green toad made Mr. Zhao and the others feel suffocated. The platinum/fantasy breed phase aura pressed down on everyone in the sincere caravan without reservation. The attendant who was leading the way revealed a playful smile to the members of the Qingyi caravan. It was like a wild cat seeing a trembling mouse in front of it. Mr. Zhao looked at the attendant who summoned the dark green toad and pretended to be calm. "What are you trying to do?" "Bring me to the manager. Our sincere caravan is about to set off." Upon hearing Mr. Zhao's words, the attendant brought the dark green toad in front of Mr. Zhao. "The manager saw that your sincere caravan has made a fortune and knows that your previous trip must have been tough. He specially asked me to send your sincere caravan members to my spiny tongue toad's stomach to have a good rest." At this point, the attendant's tone changed. He coldly gave an order to the spiny tongue toad. "Spiny tongue toad, swallow them all." Just as Mr. Zhao thought that he and the others were about to die, the figure that was originally covered in a cloak and didn't have much presence suddenly raised his palm. At the same time, a shrill croak rang out. Mr. Zhao saw that the dark green frog's body was ignited with bright red flames. Under the light of the fire was a dark red substance that flowed like magma. This layer of dark red magma-like substance instantly burned the spiny tongue toad into ashes. Then, a dark red magma-like substance flowed onto the waiter's body. The waiter followed in the footsteps of the spiny tongue toad. The flames didn't disappear after burning the spiny tongue toad and the servant, but instead spread out in all directions. In an instant, Oak City's Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's nearly 400-meter-tall tree fortress became a blazing fire tree. Originally, Mr. Zhao thought that he was about to be swallowed by this dark green giant toad. The other members of the Sincerity Merchant Group would also be slaughtered in the narrow corridor of the 8th level of the Deep Frost Merchant Group's tree fortress. After confirming the truth, Mr. Zhao felt an indescribable anger, grievance, and self-blame. If he had thought of that possibility and come to the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce alone to investigate the situation, he told Zhao Jiaji in advance that if he couldn't get through to him, he immediately led the Sincerity Caravan away from Oak City. Perhaps the other members of the Sincerity Merchant Group wouldn't have to die. Along the way from the Iron Hammer Federation's border to Oak City, Mr. Zhao had envisioned the future countless times. He thought that he could show off his abilities and let the Sincerity Merchant Group have a good development. At the same time, he wouldn't let down Lin Yuan's expectations. He could even let his grandson, Zhao Daodu, contract a Fey that wasn't bronze/normal or elite. Instead, he could consider a bronze/flawless Fey, which was something he didn't dare to think about before. Who would have thought that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, which the Sincerity Merchant Group relied on, was actually a giant mouth hidden in the darkness. In order to collect resources, they were engaged in the business of silencing the merchant group. However, in the face of a behemoth like the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, they had no room to resist. It could be said that Mr. Zhao had never encountered a platinum/fantasy breed fae before. Mr. Zhao didn't think that the people that Lin Yuan had sent to him would be of use under such a strong enemy's attack. After all, Lin Yuan's silver-armored servant's combat strength was only comparable to the servant in front of him. In fact, when Han Tianhe had made a move, Lin Yuan had already known about the situation here through Red Thorn. Han Tianhe's sudden attack had been incited by Lin Yuan. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress was one of the taller buildings in Oak City. It was only 50 meters lower than the Class 4 Creation Master Family's tree fortress that was in charge of Oak City. The burning Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress was in the eyes of almost everyone in Oak City. No one in Oak City would have thought that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's headquarters, which usually represented wealth and power, would actually burn. It was actually burning. In the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's 400-meter-tall tree fortress, apart from the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's headquarters, there were also people who came to purchase goods. There were also customers who came to purchase goods and caravan members who came to exchange goods. These people had no feud with Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan didn't need to involve these people. Therefore, this fire only caused the tree fortress to burn. If Han Tianhe summoned the geocentric dragon's nail and released the world power that belonged to a creation breed fae, the entire Oak City would become a withered tree burning under the flowing magma in the hands of the geocentric dragon's nail. Mr. Zhao, Zhao Jiji, and everyone in the Sincere caravan were flabbergasted as they looked at the raised palm under the cloak. A ball of flames had extinguished the king-class expert's figure. They were so shocked that they couldn't even say a word. At that moment, several angry voices exploded in the tree fortress. Who has the guts to actually set the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress on fire? God damn it, quickly put out the fire. Pay attention, don't let those precious furs burn. Even if you have to use your body, you have to protect these precious furs. Immediately after, a chill suddenly surged out from the tree fortress. This chill gradually extinguished the tree fortress's flames. After experiencing heat and cold, the tree fortress started to carbonize. A large portion of the carbonized tree fortress was about to collapse. The customers and caravan members in the tree fortress hurriedly fled out of the tree fortress in panic. As for the person who had just released the flames to set the tree fortress on fire, he followed behind the Sincere caravan as though nothing had happened. He fled out of the tree fortress together with the Sincere caravan. This was because Red Thorn had received Lin Yuan's order, which was why it didn't let Han Tianhe, who was controlled by the tongue of relinquish, continue to make a move. At that moment, Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng were rushing towards the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress with Xiao Chao and Xiao Hua. End of this chapter. Chapter 1418. Lu Kuan had led the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's main force to kill Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan only placed the blame on Lu Kuan and did not vent his anger on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Now, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce wanted to silence the entire Sincere caravan because of the lack of resources. It was tantamount to scheming against Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan had previously made a living by opening a fey store. Although they were doing a different business from the caravan members, the logic was the same. Compared to him, these caravan members always had their heads on their waistbands. They were using their lives to earn hard-earned money. Moreover, these caravans would be especially reliant on those large merchant associations. If a large merchant group wanted to do something behind their backs, these small caravans wouldn't have the power to resist. During the process of opening the fey store, Lin Yuan had also been troubled by the suppliers. When he had been weak, he had experienced the feeling of not even having the capital to resist. The Deep Frost caravan could attack their subordinate caravans for a few 100,000 deep Brahmin coins worth of resources. It was enough to show how despicable and evil Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce was. He thought about how Red Thorn had lured the members of the Sincere caravan to the 8th floor based on Han Tianhe's perception of the attendant. It was likely that before the Sincere caravan, many caravans had already fallen at the hands of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Such a Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce was rotten to the core. In Lin Yuan's opinion, there was no need for the Deep Frost Trade Association to continue existing. As soon as Lin Yuan left the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, Li Wan, the president of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, had a thoughtful expression on her face. Li Wan took the pair of bronze/epic walnuts that she had gotten from Lin Yuan and gently played with them. Logically speaking, this pair of walnuts should solve the urgent problem of the Shengfan auction house. Such a finale item was enough to raise the reputation of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce to another level. But Li Wan did not feel very happy at this time. She placed all of her attention on Lin Yuan. She was thinking about why Lin Yuan had immediately left the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce when he had seen that black gold butterfly-like carcinoma Fei. When he had left, he hadn't even left behind his phone number. The only thing that could make Li Wan feel at ease was that Lin Yuan still had a deposit of more than 10 million deep Brahmin dollars. With these deposits, Lin Yuan would definitely return to the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Suddenly, Li Wan, who had been deep in thought, felt her throat burn and she started to cough violently. As Li Wan coughed furiously, a fishy sweetness entered her mouth. It sprayed on the table, making the table a mess. The old man standing next to Li Wan saw this and hurriedly handed a cloth to Li Wan. Li Wan's violent coughing did not stop because she had spat out a mouthful of blood. After coughing for nearly 2 minutes, Li Wan put her hand on her chest and stopped. She took the old man's handkerchief and gently wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. The old man said worriedly to Li Wan as he cleaned the table, "Miss, with your body's condition, you really shouldn't work so hard day and night. If there's anything, just leave it to me. Let me do it. If you continue coughing like this, even though you have the medicine left behind by the old chief, once your condition worsens, those medicines won't last long." Li Wan's expression did not change when she heard the old man's words. "I know my body very well. My spirit chi professional rank is about to break through to B rank. When I become a B rank spirit chi professional, my body's overall quality will increase, and this cough should be less severe. When that time comes, I can reduce the dosage of medicine, and I can at least last for another dozen years. In these dozen years, I have to turn the tide and lead the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce out of its decline and establish a firm foothold. I have to nurture an outstanding successor so that I can live up to father's expectations." Speaking up to here, Li Guan restrained all the emotions in her eyes and changed the topic. "Let's not talk about this first. Elder Duan, go and contact the few Class 2 and Class 3 Creation Master clans that are cooperating with our Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Send out the orders that young Master Lin needs. I would rather we add more money and compete with the other chambers of commerce. We also have to strive to prepare those 120 pots of spirit herbs that can produce chi phenomena within a month." Upon hearing this, the old man quickly replied, "Miss, I'll definitely handle this matter beautifully." Through the contact between Li Wan and Lin Yuan, the old man could see that Li Wan wanted to reach a long-term cooperation with Lin Yuan. Li Wan herself might even have some other plans. In addition, Lin Yuan could casually take out a bronze/epic object storing walnut, which allowed the old man to see Lin Yuan's strength and foundation. Therefore, there was no need for Li Wan to instruct him. Lin Yuan's orders had already become the top priority in the old man's heart. The old man thought of Li Wan's hard work of supporting the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce alone and said softly, "Miss, do you think young Master Lin can become a partner of our Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce?" The old man's words caused Li Wan's eyes to suddenly look up. Li Wan's eyes revealed a tempted expression. However, Li Wan did not respond to the old man's words and changed the topic. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. Before Li Wan could finish speaking, she saw a huge tree fortress burning in the distance outside the window. This scene stunned Li Wan and the old man at the same time. Immediately, Li Wan and the old man revealed joy on their faces. Li Wan recognized that burning tree fortress. It was the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's headquarters in Oak City. Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce and Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce were competitors. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Origin Chamber of Commerce had joined hands, intending to eradicate the other chambers of commerce in Oak City. This caused the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce and the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to not only have a competitive relationship, but also an undisguised hatred. No matter what the reason was, Li Wan was happy that her enemies were in trouble. Li Wan stood up and spoke to the old man beside her. "Let's go, old Duan. Let's go to the scene and see what's going on. Let's see what kind of person Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce has provoked." There were elites overseeing the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, so even if something unexpected happened, they would not be able to escape. It was also impossible to cause the entire tree castle to burn. Therefore, to be able to make Deep Frost Commerce's tree fortress burn, it must be an enemy of Deep Frost Commerce. As a partner of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, the people from the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce would definitely be present when the tree fortress of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce was destroyed. Li Wan also wanted to see Li Origin Merchant Association's attitude towards Deep Frost Merchant Association. At this time, the clouds in Oak City were moving. 2 experts flew out from the Class 4 Creation Master Clan that was in charge of Oak City, in the direction of the fire in the Deep Frost Merchant Association's tree fortress. A large number of people poured out of the Li Yuan Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress in the southwest. The leader was an ordinary-looking youth dressed in green clothes. This youth had a grave expression as he looked at the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's burning tree fortress. He was thinking about what exactly happened to the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. In Oak City, who exactly could cause the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress to burn? End of this chapter. Chapter 1419. At this time, a middle-aged woman came to the green-robed youth's side and said respectfully, "Young Master Zhuang Bei, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce must have encountered a huge problem. How many people do you think we should bring?" The green-clothed youth looked at the middle-aged woman and said, "You are the vice president of the Li Source Chamber of Commerce. You can allocate the manpower. No matter what reason the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce has, the experts of our Li Source Chamber of Commerce do not need to interfere in this matter. If something really happens to the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, I can return to the clan with the agreement and have the elders of the clan negotiate with the Lu family." The middle-aged woman thought to herself. Young Master Zhuang Bei and young Master Lu Kun quarreled when they were signing the cooperation agreement. It seemed like young Master Zhuang Bei was still angry. Moreover, according to young Master Zhuang Bei's words, if something really happened to the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, because of Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's own reasons, they were unable to cooperate with Li Origin Chamber of Commerce in Oak City. He also planned to report this to his family and demand an explanation from the Lu family behind the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Although the vice president of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, Song Dingjun, loved money, she did not seem to be the type to cause trouble. He didn't know what kind of disaster the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce had encountered that even the tree fortress was burning. Apart from the Class 4 Creation Master Clans, the Li Source Chamber of Commerce, and the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, Oak City's 3 Class 3 Creation Master Clans, 17 Class 2 Creation Master Clans, close to 300 Class 1 Creation Master Clans, and various caravans were all heading towards the Deep Frost Trade Association's tree fortress. The Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress became the eye of the storm in Oak City. After the people inside the tree fortress had all escaped, Song Dingjun had originally wanted to let the guards of the Deep Frost Merchant Guild use the vines of the Iron Vine to secure the tree fortress. However, he had never thought that the tree castle would be severely damaged by the fire. The tree castle, which had been carbonized by the cold, directly collapsed into a pile of coke. Ash splattered all over the ground, choking everyone so much that they couldn't open their eyes. Looking at the mess in front of her, Song Dingjun shouted angrily, "Who set fire to my Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress? Come out!" Killing intent shot out from Song Dingjun's eyes. Song Dingjun was the vice president appointed by the Lu family in Oak City's Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Now that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress was burning, Song Dingjun would inevitably be punished. If Lu Kuan was in the tree fortress at this time, He could bear the responsibility together with him. But Lu Kuan wasn't here, so there was no way to push the blame onto him. He had to bear all of this responsibility himself. However, Song Dingjin simply could not bear such a responsibility. The three elders beside Song Dingjin immediately released their phase. A huge wolf with scarlet fur let out a piercing howl. A plantain plant had taken root on the street. As its leaves fluttered, they formed tornadoes one after another. A ladybug with a 7-star mark on its body flapped its wings and let out a deafening roar. The yellow substance that flowed out of the ladybug's tail had already caused many people to vomit. These three fays were all diamond/fantasy breeds. The diamond/fantasy breed phase pressure pressed down on everyone in the surroundings indiscriminately. Many of the onlookers felt as if a huge rock was pressing down on their chests, making it hard for them to breathe. Some of the more timid ordinary people even fainted from fright. No matter how Song Dingjin called out, no one answered. Lil Pi, who was being protected in Zhao Jiaji's arms, suddenly cried loudly. The baby's cries immediately attracted Song Dingjin's attention. At that moment, a middle-aged man wearing a black uniform ran to Song Dingjin's side with a slight change in expression. He pointed at the sincere caravan and softly whispered in Song Dingjin's ear. Then, Song Dingjin's expression became strange. Song Dingjin looked at the black-clothed manager and did not understand why he did not send anyone to attack the sincere caravan. At that moment, the manager was constantly searching the crowd for the king-class expert that he had sent. However, the manager realized that he could not find the king-class expert at all. Even the sincere caravan's people had run out, but the king-class expert that he had sent was nowhere to be seen. This made the manager's hair stand on end. Just as the manager was about to explain the situation to Song Dingjin, an unfriendly voice echoed. What's going on with the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce? Why did the base suddenly burn? Hearing this voice, Song Dingjin turned around. Song Dingjin hurriedly went up to greet them when she saw them. It turns out to be the two Ding Darren. Song Dingjin is here to greet you. I'm also investigating the cause of the tree fortress's burning, but I don't have any leads yet. Song Dingjin felt extremely disgusted. If she knew why the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress was burning, she wouldn't be able to do anything about it. If that was the case, he would have stopped it long ago. How could they allow the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress to burn? However, Oak City belonged to the Ding family, and the Ding family was the only Class 4 Creation Master clan in Oak City. He had unparalleled authority in Oak City. Even young Master Lu Kuan didn't dare to be impudent in front of the Ding clan. Once they provoked the Ding family would not allow the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to continue opening a branch in Oak City. Even if someone from the Lu family came to plead, it would be useless. Song Dingjin had thought that he would be able to find the culprit behind the fire and have a big fight. But who would have thought that no one would make a sound? At this moment, the people from the Li Source Chamber of Commerce arrived. The green-clothed youth didn't speak, but the middle-aged woman understood the green-clothed youth's intention and asked Song Dingjin. President Song, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce has just signed a cooperation agreement with our Li Source Chamber of Commerce, and they have already created such a mess. Our Li Source Chamber of Commerce needs your Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to give us an explanation. Song Dingjin hurriedly responded. Our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce will investigate the cause of the tree fortress's fire and immediately rebuild it. Our cooperation with the Li Source Chamber of Commerce will not be affected. Hearing Song Dingjin's words, the green-clothed youth who was leading the Li Source Chamber of Commerce spoke in an unfriendly tone. You make it sound so simple. If even the base is burning, how can your Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce still have any prestige in Oak City? I request that the Li Source Chamber of Commerce take the lead in the signed agreement, and the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce will cooperate. Hearing the green-clothed youth's words, Song Dingjin frowned even more. Song Dingjin thought to herself, it would be great if Lu Kuan was back. Only Lu Kuan could compete with Zhuang Bei. Zhuang Bei was a member of the Zhuang family, which was a member of the Lu family who did not share the same surname. Facing Zhuang Bei's accusation, Song Dingjin was prepared to stall for time until Lu Kuan returned. Song Dingjin's gaze swept across the customers and members of the caravan who had just escaped from the tree fortress. Since no one has admitted to it, then all of you will have to take responsibility for the burning of our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress. End of chapter. Chapter 1420. After Mr. Zhao escaped from the tree fortress, his eyes had been on the figure shrouded in a cloak. Mr. Zhao had never seen such a grand gathering of Oak City's nobles. Mr. Zhao felt that his legs were a little weak. However, since the figure under the cloak didn't say anything, Mr. Zhao didn't dare to rashly admit the matter. The person that Lin Yuan had sent to protect the sincere caravan could kill a platinum/fantasy breed fae. However, he might not be able to defeat a diamond/fantasy breed fae. Moreover, the Class 4 Creation Master Ding family of Oak City had an Emperor-class expert. An Emperor-class expert was a legendary figure. Seeing that no one said anything, Song Dingjin immediately gave a fierce order. The three of you, kill all the people that escaped from the tree fortress. Just as the three King-class experts heard the order and were about to command the Fae to take action, a clear voice came from the crowd. I was the one who burned the tree fortress. But I think your Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's people should be able to guess why this tree fortress was burning. This statement caused the pupils of the onlookers to shrink. It could be said that this statement was out of everyone's expectations. Even Oak City's Class 4 Creation Master clan, the Ding clan, had sent 2 experts over. They all thought that the matter would end with Song Dingjin executing the people that escaped from the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. After all, someone had to take the blame for the destruction of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's tree fortress. These customers and members of the caravan that escaped from the tree fortress were undoubtedly the best scapegoats. The 2 experts from the Ding family tacitly agreed to this behavior. Although there were a few minor nobles among the customers that escaped from the tree houses, they didn't have any power. Thus, it didn't matter if they died. Unexpectedly, someone actually took the initiative to take the blame for this disaster. Was the person who said that stupid? Didn't the person who spoke know that he had agreed to it in front of everyone? It was the same as taking the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's hatred. Was there really someone who wasn't afraid of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's 3 sinister diamonds/fantasy breed phase? From the meaning of the words, it seemed like there was an inside story of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's destruction that outsiders didn't know. After hearing this voice, apart from Song Dingjin, Li Wan had the greatest reaction. Because Li Wan was very familiar with this voice. This voice belonged to young Master Lin, who had just left the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce not long ago. As Li Wan worried for Lin Yuan, she secretly rejoiced. Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Flourishing Chamber of Commerce were enemies, and could no longer return the favor. If Lin Yuan became mortal enemies with the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, no matter if he formed an alliance with the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce or not, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce would not be able to survive. They were all standing on the same side. Song Dingjin had nowhere to vent her anger. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's voice, Song Dingjin immediately scolded loudly. The person who just spoke. Get out of the crowd. Let me see what ability you have to burn down the tree fortress of my Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. The moment Lin Yuan spoke, the onlookers around him hurriedly distanced themselves from him. He was afraid that if he stood too close to Lin Yuan, he would be mistaken as one of them and get into trouble. As Lin Yuan moved forward, the crowd automatically made way for him. Lin Yuan carried Genius with his left hand and Xiaohua with his right. The dimensional light moth flew on Lu Jie's right and Xiaochao on his left. On the other hand, Ji Feng walked in front of Lin Yuan and Lu Jie, opening a path for them. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Yuan and his group. They were secretly shocked by the bearing and appearance of Lin Yuan and his group. However, in many people's eyes, Lin Yuan and his group of 5 were soon dead. In terms of appearance, apart from the 2 children, this group of people had black hair and black eyes. They were definitely people of the Deep Lush Federation. If they were local nobles from the Divine Wood Federation, it would be fine if they went against the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. How could someone from the Deep Lush Federation dare to start a conflict with the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce? Could it be that this group of people was not aware of the hidden tyrant Lu family's power in the Deep Lush Federation? The three king-class experts behind Song Dingjin immediately used their diamond/fantasy breed phase. They flew toward Lin Yuan and his group. They were prepared to kill Lin Yuan and his group to restore the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's reputation. At that moment, the dimensional light moth flying above Lu Jie's head flapped its wings. Under the flapping of the dimensional light moth's wings, circles of spatial ripples were formed in midair. These spatial ripples oscillated around rhythmically. All of a sudden, over a dozen insect squads consisting of 10 diamond V/fantasy eye fleshmincing blade insects appeared around the venue. They surrounded the three king-class experts' diamond/fantasy breed phase. Then, a feast of the insect swarm began. As soon as over a dozen squads of fleshmincing blade insects appeared, they immediately rushed toward the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce's 3-diamond/fantasy breed phase. Soon, 7 or 8 palm-sized fleshmincing blade insects crawled onto the scarlet-furred giant wolf. These fleshmincing blade insects crawled onto the giant wolf's body, and their 8 legs quickly stirred. The giant wolf immediately let out a panicked howl. Soon, the giant wolf's fur was cut open by the fleshmincing blade insects' insect limbs. These fleshmincing blade insects drilled into the blood-colored giant wolf's body through the opening. This scene made everyone's scalp tingle. More and more fleshmincing blade insects crawled onto the giant wolf's body and drilled into its body through the wound. They started to dismember this blood-colored giant wolf. The giant wolf struggled on the ground and howled miserably, but it was still to no avail. This diamond/fantasy breed giant wolf was originally a blood-type fae that used its physical body as a means of combat. Now that a large number of fleshmincing blade insects had suddenly closed in, the giant wolf had no ability to resist at all. This was because the giant wolf had no way to drive out the fleshmincing blade insects that had drilled into its body. However, the plant fae that could create a tornado with a wave of its leaves could rely on the violent wind to block the fleshmincing blade insects. The ladybug with the 7-star mark on its back flew in the air, leaving the fleshmincing blade insects helpless. As a land-type insect fae, the fleshmincing blade insects could not attack units in the air. Instead, 7 or 8 fleshmincing blade insects were burned through by the yellow sticky substance sprayed from the ladybug's tail sheath. The dimensional lamp moths were still flapping their wings, and the surrounding dimensional fluctuations were getting more intense. At that moment, 5 Diamond X/Fantasy 3 Hurricane Owlet moths flew out of the cracked space. The grade and quality of the 5 Hurricane Owlet moths were higher than the plant fae that could control the violent wind with its leaves. The 5 Hurricane Owlet moths controlled the violent wind and controlled it to form wind blades that slashed at this tall diamond/fantasy breed fae. They controlled the violent wind to form chains to control the ladybug fae that was attacking the fleshmincing blade insects. Without the protection of the violent wind, a large number of fleshmincing blade insects quickly climbed onto this plant fae. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.